Welcome to Mr. Podcast with Claude.
And Justin.
And Jen.
Welcome, Jen. Thanks for joining us back on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And thank you in advance to everyone who's not turning it off.
Give them time.
Would they do that? Stop. I don't need to hear this now.
There's 3 people on a podcast.
This is
That's
not
too
what
many.
I'm used to. Hashtag cancel the lowdown. Cancel the... Oh, I guess we're not the lowdown anymore.
Whoops.
Sorry.
I'm a hashtag. Come on. Make them come up with them themselves, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
So you were I not a frequent guest on the Lost Slowdown, but
occasional.
Was I the most frequent guest?
The most frequent.
Most frequent, and honestly, the least frequent.
Yeah, that's good. And I was also right in the middle.
Yeah, the mean and median frequency is also your title.
The mode and the range, too.
I hope that we've got some 7th graders listening in to reinforce some of their learning as we enter this long summer stretch.
That's why we do it, for the kids. So we are talking about Leftovers, episode 306, Certified.
That's what it's called.
Lori's big episode, where we find out a lot of things. Some things I didn't think they would ever tell us, because I thought we had gone past it.
Yeah.
That was what I know.
That's the Lindelof difference.
Yeah.
That's the Lindelof difference. Just when you didn't care anymore, back to take your attention.
Yep.
Well, far be it from me to be the one to bring up Lost. But I thought it was handled better.
So we're talking about the departed fetus?
I was thinking of the departed fetus, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like the main
but also,
old answer that they threw out there.
But also the big reveal about what actually drove her to.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess we'll talk about all these things in detail. I guess let's start with just general reactions for the episode. What'd you guys think?
I mean, I thought it was great. I thought I thought it was one of the more effective episodes of the season, both in terms of emotion and plot advancement, but not, it wasn't too plot heavy, but it felt like it was in keeping with the story. The pacing was good, and I just thought it was just really fascinating to do a Laurie. If you had told me in advance that it was going to be a Laurie-centric episode, I think I wouldn't have been very excited to hear that. But I thought it was done really well. Why are you laughing?
Just because, I mean,
Laurie's the buzzkill.
She's the one, she's the killjoy. She's the one who pops the beach ball and ruins everyone's fun. So I feel like she would be like, no one wants to see my episode, but
but they need to see my episode
exactly
for their own good.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, and just in general, I feel like when you have a single character centric episode, which, I mean, the other characters were developed and they were involved in the episode, but it's just, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And, sometimes it's just not, especially when you're watching it week to week. It's one thing if you're binging it, but when you're watching week to week, it's like, this is all I get. I gotta wait another week to see the continuation of what I was, invested in. But it didn't feel like that.
Nice.
Justin.
Bob. I agree. It was very, very character-centric episode. There was definitely some questions answered. I mean, it's the end of the show, right? I mean, this is like the third to last episode. There's only 2 left. And I guess it's like, we get some sense of what the final story is going to be, or at least like a good part of it. And this is kind of a loose end that needed to be dealt with before they could, because she's not, I mean, it's a little bit ambiguous through the episode, but if you think through her story, like she's not gonna go through, she's not gonna follow along for this like crazy plan
Mm-hmm.
that they have.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they had to spend the time to explain like what exactly she does on this Australia trip, how she interacts with the rest of them, and I guess how she kind of goes off on her own. I think in a way it was like, the most satisfying episode of the season. Like it just because like it had a completeness, even though it didn't. I mean, it didn't advance the sort of the main crazy plot. That was sort of the point of the episode in a way, but yeah, I think like I guess it reminded me of supposedly she dies at the end. I mean it sort of reminded me of the episode towards the end of Lost when when Sun and Jin die in the submarine or something. Like it's one of those sort of like the show's ending, characters are dying, and they're kind of really giving like final moments and saying the final things that they want to say about the characters that they've had so far. So I think it was it was less like out there than, but then like for a Laurie episode that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think like it's not as like mystery focused or whatever, but obviously the point of the story is like they're gonna dive headfirst literally into that whole thing probably next week or so we'll get to see that in detail, and I think it was pretty well done. I mean for what it is, which I totally agree. Like if I heard it's gonna be a Laurie centric episode, I mean not that I wouldn't watch it or wouldn't want to watch it, but I guess I wouldn't expect it to be as satisfying as it was. Really surprisingly worked well. I don't know. It was a strong arc.
Yeah, I think it worked well because it was Laurie. The main part was Laurie doing what Laurie does best, which is apparently being Judas. We talked, I think, on the last podcast about Laurie, what biblical character she would be, and we were talking about doubting Thomas,
which they reference.
Which they did reference. And I remember thinking at the time we were talking about that, like, okay, well, who's Judas? Who's Judas? And I thought, well, they're not going to go down the list of people and match them up to everybody you can think of at the Last Supper or whatever, like, and they're kind of doing that.
Such a naive moment.
They did that.
They were like, no, this whole analogy here, we're gonna really just make it explicit and have them talk about it, and have you have a character like Kevin Sr. who just, as crazy as this situation is, he's just like, oh, and you're this person, and you're this person, I'm and like, who do you want to be? Like that was a weird point when it's like, you just choose who you want to be. Like it's like, is this serious or not? Like, what are the rules here? Like, is it the second coming of Christ? Is it choose your own adventure series or something? Like it's just just kind of the juxtaposition of what's happening and how serious they're taking it, but also like how comical it is, because there's not like these like hard fast rules. He's not like studying the Bible, for like clues of what to do next. You know what I mean? Like he feels like he knows what to do next, which is not what's in the Bible. So I found that kind of stuff I thought was really interesting, and Laurie's backstory, how she became, or the decision that led her to be Guilty Remnant. I didn't think we needed that. It was also because I think we kind of guessed the situation, and I think we were all pretty much right. Maybe not exactly for every detail, and so I was like, I didn't really need to see that, especially since the bane of season one to me was the bane of season one's existence was the Guilty Remnant stuff. I didn't really like that until towards the end of the season when we kind of got Patty talking, and we could understand them more. And I just thought they didn't. It was irksome because I felt like, do they even know why they're following this dogma? It's like the others. It's like, do you guys even know, like, what's your real philosophy here? And the fact that, like, we saw it with Jill, we saw it with Jill got fed up with her life and she went to go join Guilty Remnant. What's her name?
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler, thank you. Yeah, she got fed up, but it's the same thing of like, I don't really know what you guys are about 100%. Just tell me what to do because I can't deal with my life. And that might be realistic in terms of human nature or something when people join cults or I don't know what, but just as a story, I found it pretty boring because there's nothing really there, so I feel like this late in the game to get that beat, I didn't really need to see that, but that's fine.
So I agree with a lot of what you just said, but if I could provide a counterpoint, what I got from this episode that I hadn't necessarily guessed was this idea that part of her turning to the Guilty Remnant had to do with her role as a therapist. And this idea that she should, as a therapist, not just as an individual who lived through this traumatic global event, but as a therapist, people are turning to her for the support, and that she gets a lot of her identity from kind of helping people to work through these things that are sort of existential threats to, to her patients and whatever, but she really has no idea what to tell them. And so, and not just like, I have no idea what my life means for me. I have no idea how I continue to exist in this world with all of these things that have happened, including like the vanishing of this fetus and these weird like interpersonal relationships that were happening even before the departure and now this. But also like, I am somebody whose identity is totally tied up in helping people work through issues, and nothing in my training or my impulses has prepared me to actually help people with this. And so,
has it?
Well, I don't know, but they show in that, conversation with that woman, and then she attempts suicide, and then she comes back, and then she goes to the Guilty Remnant. Then, of course, fast forward, and she's left the Guilty Remnant, and she's making this sort of last hurrah to try to help these people in her life, knowing that these are like the final things she's going to do before tying the bow on where we started in the beginning of the episode, and killing herself. So I felt like I did get a different take on why she joined a slightly different take on why she joined the Guilty Remnant based on this episode that was more
yeah
sad.
I think I agree with that. I think having it be in the context of this story definitely helps make that point. Which I guess is why they felt it was relevant. It just felt like the beat that we had already, pinned down in our minds. It was like, why are we coming back to this? But yeah, the kind of scenario you're saying that definitely makes sense. They're illustrating that basically when she feels like she can't help people, she wants to kill herself. That's basically it. I mean, well, to be fair, it's when she's lost her identity,
right,
which is reasonable, I guess, and or understandable, I should say. Yeah, I'll buy that. I guess we'll get to the fetus when we get to the scene. But yeah, overall, I did like the episode. The structure was a little confusing. I didn't really understand why they left us confused about how Laurie found the group and who told her and where she was. It took me half the episode to understand like where the Nora and Laurie stuff was fitting in with, like when did that happen versus the stuff at the farm. And I don't know if you guys were confused. I was confused for a while on what exactly we were seeing, and I thought that was I didn't understand, like, why confuse us about this? Why not say, like, earlier today or later tonight or whatever and just, like, make it clear what was happening?
Yeah, I thought that maybe we had actually skipped an episode.
Oh, I totally thought I did the same thing. I'm like, I must have skipped an episode. How did she find them and what's happening? And they're talking like, we're missing information. So yeah, I was just thrown off by. I'm like, why make us go through that for no reason? Apparently.
Yeah, the space between episodes this season has been really unusual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but overall, yeah, I liked it. You know, Laurie's whole gambit was very cool and interesting and classic Laurie. And yeah, overall, I did like it.
I think dramatically. I mean, so if they told the story linearly, which I guess would be, um, uh, actually, I'm not sure what happened at the beginning. I think that's the part we never really learn. Like, yeah, I don't really understand. I guess they got off the boat, and did they say this? Like, now I don't remember.
Something happened where they thought Kevin was at the airport.
Yeah, well, Kevin. Well, I think Kevin. I think when he left Nora in the hotel room, I mean, I think he was planning to go to the airport.
Sure. Yeah.
But he found out the airport was closed because of the explosion. So like but I don't really. What I don't understand is, and now I'm feeling like, did they say this? And now I'm confused again. Like, cause they split up, right? I mean, they were all together on the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt and John and Michael and Laurie.
Yeah, I think Laurie and Nora are together, and I think that's when she gets the call from Michael.
Yeah.
And so that's when she splits and goes. And yeah, I guess the next morning is when she goes with Matt and Nora to the machine place, and then she leaves from there to go to the farm. I think.
Yeah.
So I think
I think you're right.
I think they
again. Why is this so confusing? Like, why? What does the confusion give us?
I mean, that part of it I understand. Like, all the stuff we see, I basically understand. Like, she went through the whole thing with Matt and Nora. You know, eventually, dropped them off at the machine, and then took the van and went to the house, and then the rest of the stuff we saw in the episode. I mean, that's all fine. I just don't understand what happened initially, like, because they got off the boat, and then they split up. Like, I don't know, like, so.
I think the guys go to the airport to find Kevin, and then Laurie goes to the hotel to find Nora, and then goes on this excursion with her.
Well,
I guess
Matt goes looking for Nora.
Yeah. So I mean, Laurie goes with them, but like, how did Matt and how did John and Michael find Kevin? I mean, how did
they say in this episode?
That's what I don't remember now.
Michael, they got to the airport. Kevin wasn't there. They called Kevin's cell
phone.
Oh,
they just called him.
And he was like, "I'm at this ranch
That's
with
right.
my dad."
The one time he answered, so he could tell them that.
It's just a simple explanation. Okay. So they split up. They went to the airport. Okay. And then, all right, so I guess.
But like John and Kevin Senior. Well, Kevin Senior's there, but like John and is Matt with them at the airport at this point?
I'm assuming Matt went with Nora and Laurie initially.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever went to the airport.
So John went by himself to the airport?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fallout from the previous episode is that, like, Matt is not.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but Matt has lost his faith.
It was meeting God. It was that whole thing.
He saw the second orientation video, and he was like, "I don't have to press the button." After all. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Like, just completely don't understand how, after all that, he's like, "Oh well." And not even like, did he even go? He didn't really even say like, "I don't think Kevin's whatever anymore," right? He didn't even go that far. He's just sort of on Nora's path now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assume that's what he thinks, but yeah, it just seems like that's not a priority anymore.
Because when he gave him the book, he wasn't like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't put him in this book that's false, and you shouldn't follow it," or whatever. Like, he seemed at least, is going to allow them to continue that
He
journey.
said he was
But-
sorry he put Kevin in it, but
Yeah, he does seem to have lost faith in the story of the book, because if you think about how protective he was of the
Mhm.
book in the first place, and the fact that he'll just give it away to Kevin
So,
Sr., who threw the other copy away.
so basically, when Matt is talking in the last episode, when he's talking to David Burton, and David Burton is like, "I'm God," yada yada yada.
that's a direct quote.
Yeah, that's a direct quote. Etc. He basically realized in that moment, oh, anyone can say they're God in the right circumstances. That's probably what happened to Kevin. Oh, I guess Kevin isn't special. Like, is that what you guys are thinking happened? Like, in that conversation, he realized that, like, there's no way to, like, really prove or, sort of these things directly. And so, like, if he doesn't believe in David Burton, then that means he shouldn't believe in Kevin.
Yeah, I think that's basically the idea. Because David Burton's story was similar. Supposedly he died and came back.
Mhm.
And
Why is it? But the miracle factor, though. This happened in Miracle.
he's over that now.
He's over Miracle? Jeez.
They're all
Wow.
over Miracle. They're not even. Nobody's even talking about that. We talked about that last week. Like that, the story's just moved on from that as being like a big deal.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Okay. That's strange. It's Matt had a whole character change in like one conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes.
Well, I feel like if Matt was at the ranch, he would tell. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he's really turned a corner. But I do think if you were there, he might point out, like, hey, as I said several episodes ago, you can die, you just can't die in Miracle. Don't let them drown you here. You will actually die, following my logic. He has no reason to believe that, and I don't believe it, but he really believed it not that long ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But a part of the theme throughout this series is that people are kind of tenuous in terms of their like will to live.
That's fair.
So I don't know.
Yeah, they're just grasping at ideologies, whatever hits them at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
That doesn't sound familiar. That doesn't sound similar to any lived experience in the non-fictional world.
I agree. It's weird how there's a show about like stuff that like nobody ever does ever.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's like pure like
Quick question.
anti-art. Yes.
Leave Michael Bay out of this.
Oh.
Hey.
Oh.
What happened to the other three women of the apocalypse?
Oh,
they ran off in fear.
I think didn't they
They're
say
like, Grace just killed a man. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Didn't they say in that scene like or did she say it later? I don't remember. There was something like I'll take responsibility for this and and they're just like okay, they were done after the one guy died.
Jeez, such fickle people.
Yeah, I know, right?
Australia.
Such fickle pickles.
You gotta hang in there. Literally.
Yeah. If it's a big deal, don't be a fickle.
Oh no.
Sorry, that one hurt.
It did. It hurt a lot.
Don't Vlasic.
I gotta say though, partially burying a body under half of a porch, not thorough.
Oh, that's right. So they buried the Australian Kevin in the church, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Like under the what was the under the floor or something?
Yeah, it looks like they just pried up some porch steps and put the body under there, but they didn't actually cover it up all.
It's
the way.
openly visible, yeah.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah, they show it. They show it at the
Oh, I missed
beginning
that.
because I saw the body during the rewatch, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, "Oh, that's what it is. It's that guy. It's the other Kevin." So yeah,
They didn't get to. They didn't finish burying him.
it doesn't look like they started. I mean, they just kind of put him under. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if they really think that the world's gonna end in like 24 hours, then maybe it's not really worth it.
that seems to be.
But no, it's not gonna end if he does the dance and sings the song and stop the flood.
Well, but
Yeah.
they're willing to deal with the consequences if they can save the world. I guess that's the idea.
They say that now.
That's what they say now. Yeah, I know. It'll be a different story in court later.
Your Honor, I thought the flood wasn't gonna happen, but I still did it anyway, even though I was hoping the world would continue. Yes, I'm representing myself.
Yeah.
So, all right, you guys want to go through the recap and talk about this episode in more detail?
Yeah, let's do it. Are you ready?
Sure.
Do it. Let's get certified.
Well, can I just start by saying, wait, so how does this go? You go.
Well,
go.
generally, like, we just,
I'm not a listener.
we just kind of narrate, like, what's happening, and
I
then
got a thing I want to say
talk-
about this scene.
talk
but
about it
Go ahead and narrate
as we
it.
go here.
Tell us.
Yeah, so Justin will do he'll talk about a section of it, and then once he gets done, we can dive in. Or if there's something he's talking about and you really want to jump in, you can just jump in.
All right, and listeners, you jump in too.
Yeah, especially you guys.
So, we kind of talked about this, but we opened up with a flashback to Mapleton. Laurie's counseling the woman from the beginning of the pilot episode, whose baby disappeared from the car, and she's like, she's going on and on about, what it was like after that. She thinks the baby's gonna come back. There was some weird stuff about, I remember this line, like, if the baby, maybe they'll come back, and if they come back, they'll come back to the same place. And it's like, what? But, assumptions, it's a thing. Anyway.
And she also asks, like, if the baby were to come back, would it have aged?
Mm-hmm.
Which is an interesting idea that I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah, I would assume. Well, yeah.
Well,
Who fucking knows?
Yeah,
because it's a crazy thing. But yeah, if the other people, if these what are they? If the death rate called people are correct, then and they just got beamed somewhere else, presumably time is still passing for them, so they're still alive.
Well, and don't forget to add in the variable that time could be passing at a different rate relative to our time.
God damn it! Don't get all physicsy.
That baby could be old enough to be that woman's grandmother.
As they say in the Departed physics department, E equals MC where?
Oh.
You're on fire.
I'm just here for the jokes, guys. I'm just here for the jokes.
There are a lot of opportunities for rim shots. Not a single one executed so far.
So basically at the end of this, she's like, so what do I do? Like, tell me what to do. And Laurie's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you should do. And then basically we transition to Laurie going to take a bunch of pills, presumably to kill herself.
What?
But yeah.
I thought those were vitamins.
No.
That's how I take my Flintstone chewables.
Oh my god. Flintstone chewables are not candy. You should not take them like that.
But they taste like candy.
I know they do. It's bad. It's bad for you. Too many vitamins will kill you.
Do
That sounds like alternative facts.
Do therapists actually tell you what to do, though? I always had the impression that therapists just listen to you.
They do tell you what to do. I think to the extent they offer advice and they offer coping strategies and
But they don't
you know
offer
things to
advice
try.
in a first appointment.
Well, I assume this lady had been here before. You think this was her first time?
I don't know. It kind of seems that
For her
way.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I
Yeah,
don't know.
she was. I mean, I think the answer would be, come to therapy once a week, and we'll talk about your feelings. And if it was like
Yeah.
another real, down to earth problem. So I think that's kind of the answer she would normally have given. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, they're, I don't know. If they're like, oh, I'm thinking about committing suicide, she would tell you not to do it. Go write a list of the things that make you happy, or go see your friends, or
I just
offer
feel like
that kind of thing.
Yeah. I just feel like the answer to the question is that's not really how therapy works. You're gonna spend a long time talking, and you're gonna talk to me about a lot more than that.
His whole problem, she just doesn't know how therapy works, and so
Maybe that's
she thinks therapists have to fix people's problems by telling them what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Just gotta
Maybe
dodge
she's
those
not
questions.
certified. Maybe her therapy license is uncertified.
That's a crackpot theory.
Oh my god. Wow.
That could change everything.
The title is like ironic.
Yep. And now
Wow.
she's certified because she's crazy.
Exactly. Double meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So fun fact about this scene: the first time watching it, Justin didn't notice that she was attempting suicide because he was so distracted by the reorchestrated Metallica.
All right.
The music, very well used. It's a little distracting.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they did that before. Did they do that before on this show? I feel like I saw somebody else do that. Where they had like the
Yeah.
instrumental.
The string
Mixed
quartet
Yeah.
version of Metallica, yeah. I've seen it in other stuff. I'm not sure if they use it in this show before. So, because they might have. But yeah, I was just I get distracted. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we can
What?
just
I just think
move
it's a little
on.
piece of trivia for your fans.
I don't think
You don't think they care?
needed to know that, but it is true.
Are you guys on a need to know basis with this podcast?
You know what the important thing is though is that on the rewatch I did notice it, and that's why we do a rewatch here at Mr. Podcast.
That's why.
That's the Mr. Podcast difference.
To catch those things that we missed. I mean, I think I did mention on the Twin Peaks podcast that there were some things that like just totally went over my head when I was watching it originally, just because I was so distracted by other things. It's just attention. My attention is focused. I'm very focused. That's the skill that I need to be a podcaster, and sometimes that has a downside. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. It's like Superman.
Exactly.
Sometimes too strong.
Exactly. It's that's my sort of, my weak, my kryptonite, that's the, the downside of my powers, I don't always notice things because when I'm not noticing something, I'm really hardcore noticing something else.
Hyper noticing.
Yeah, I'm like extra, super noticing.
That's the other Soundgarden album. Super noticing. All right.
So anyway, just to wrap this up, at the last second, well, I shouldn't say at the last second. We don't know for a fact how long the pills would have taken to take effect. But anyway, before it's too late, she changes her mind. She swallows the stuff to make her throw up. And so she throws up the pills. And she's got a new plan, no suicide. I'll go dig out my favorite white outfit and go join the Guilty Remnants. So she goes outside and she's like, she asks them to tell her what to do, which I guess, that's sort of the end point of that little segment.
Yeah.
They'll tell you what to do, sort of. I mean, in a way, maybe more than
I guess it's just the idea that these people who join the Guilty Remnant have some extraordinary loss and they can't function normally because they're thinking about it and dealing with it, but being being part of the Guilty Remnant gives them purpose. It gives them something to do. Go harass other people. Go
exactly.
go smoke. Go wear white. Go write things down. And it's like at least I don't have to think about what to do. Did someone will tell me what to do. So I kind of get that from that perspective. But that's such a such a point of desperation when you'll be willing for anyone to tell you what to do, not just someone who has like a good suggestion of what to do. Just any suggestion will do,
Just because almost seem like just because they're there, just because they're right outside.
And they there's multiple of them. Other people have done it. This is a thing people do. I'll do it too.
I have a minor question, I guess, related to that we'll never get the answer to, which is, who sent them? Like, did Patty send them? Are they there for Laurie? Were they there for her patients? Like the woman speculated. Like, you know what I mean? What was the what was the purpose of their being there? Like, I think season 1 tells us when they do that, they're recruiting.
Yeah.
So we at least know that, but you know what I mean? Like, I always assumed when we found out that Patty was her patient, that Patty recruited her. But this says that's not true.
I would assume they're there for her because from what I remember what the lady said, she didn't seem to intimate that these people had followed her or anything, right? She was just, what did she say? Like, they're just outside.
Yeah, well, what we
she insinuated that that they thought the patients would be easy to recruit.
Yeah, but what we see in the first season is that they're camping out outside of people's homes and they're following people. They're not, camping out locations.
Yeah, we never saw them do that. I agree.
I would guess that, Patty sent them to Case outside of the place to wait for her because Patty knew that she was, maybe susceptible. And they do tell us in the second season that, Laurie tells that therapy group that she's got going on of Guilty Remnant, kind of escapees or whatever, that, part of the appeal of Patty was that she had known. She had said that she knew that something big was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that maybe she had some kind of privileged knowledge or something special.
Like, she was right about that, so she'll be right about what I need to do next. And yeah, the line is just that she says, there are two of those bitches in white standing out front right now smoking their fucking cigarettes. So I kind of think they're there for either this general idea that they're just waiting for anyone going to therapy who are seeking answers, or specifically there for Laurie.
So I'll just point out that this is the first time, and it's a flashback, that we've seen the Guilty Remnant this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been talking about it on podcasts. Like, are they even going to be a thing this season? And as deep as we are in the season, the fact that this is only a flashback to explain why Laurie joined in the first place. I mean, it seems to me like, I mean, I guess the possibility is still open for the Death Ray Cult being the Guilty Remnant, assuming they've gone full incognito. They talk now. They wear normal clothes now. That could happen, but it also seems like it could be that there's just no Guilty Remnant this season. They're just done with that. The bomb was like blowing up the Guilty Remnant, basically.
Yeah, there were seemingly other Guilty Remnant factions around, outside of the
Oh
town.
yeah, yeah. I mean, realistically, there's Guilty Remnant out in the world, but I just mean for the
Yeah,
show.
yeah. I hope we're done with them. It's done with them.
I think we are. That's how it
I
seems to me.
scientists should be something else, unless it's just going to be like a reversal when they know the machine is fake, and
Right.
this is their attempt to prove to people who want to go that there's no place to go. But honestly, the fact that they're still talking about the machine makes me think we're going to see this thing, and someone's going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And against my better judgment, my instinct is telling me that's going to connect to Nora at the Anglican community garden
Yeah,
in some weird way.
I think you're right.
I just can't believe Nora's going to walk through a machine and go to some other Earth or go to some other dimension or go to something, and it will, in some sense, work. But clearly her kids won't be there or something, right? Like, she's upset about something, and
Yeah.
seemingly alone, so it can't necessarily work 100%. But the more I feel like that's not the show we're watching, that's the more they seem to tell me that is the show we're watching. So, and the fact that Matt's along for the ride too, it's like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe he'll see her go or something, and decide not to go. I don't know, but yeah, I think we're gonna be done with the Guilty Remnant.
Yeah, I was thinking that like Nora can't get in because she has to make it to the flash forward. I guess they could do a crazy thing where she gets in the machine and it leads to the flash forward. That's definitely a possible thing. So I was
Mm-hmm.
assuming that either you know, some random character, Matt gets in the machine, like, you know, some other person.
I could see Matt going first. Like, let me try it out.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Let me test it.
Yeah, like, you know, he's dying anyway, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So like I could see them doing something like that. I feel like we're not gonna know. I mean, I'm just gonna, you know, stake a claim now. I mean, I feel like we're not really gonna know if the machine works or not by the end of the season.
So what would be really crazy? I don't think they're gonna do this because I don't think they're writing this kind of show. But if following what you all are talking about, if the Death Ray machine sends people into the future, and that's where the Departed went in order to wait out this flood that's coming, that it's like this
Mm-hmm.
time travel arc or something.
Oh God, that would be crazy.
Like, I don't think they're gonna do that because, like I said, I don't think that's the kind of show this is. But if what we're seeing in that scene with older Nora is her having passed through that machine, it raises questions about, you know, is that really where the Departed went? And why would there be a sudden departure that sent people into the future?
Can the machine both work and send the person somewhere and like irradiate them and make them seem older with the, like, I feel like the makeup is her being older. Some people think it's her being irradiated. It seems like it doesn't work that well if it irradiates you and sends you there.
I thought it was just her being older too, but
yeah.
you know,
it's hard to tell. And I would say I like the idea of this like global temporal Noah's Ark, but it seems like more than 2% of the world's population would survive even if there was a global flood. I guess it depends on how bad the flood gets.
Yeah.
But it seems like, yeah, like more people would survive just being in high land areas. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. I would love it if it was something like that, where like there's some weird sci-fi answer. And Justin, what you were saying about not finding out if it works by the end of the show, I get that impulse, but I feel like that has to be the cherry on the cake, right? Is like not leaving it in complete ambiguity, right? Or else what's the point, right? If all they say is Nora goes to the machine and we don't know if it worked or not, then what's the sort of like resolution thematically and like character wise? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
what would
yeah.
they?
No, I mean, I feel like they'll portray it as though. I'm guessing it'll be along the lines of the other stuff we've seen. Like, they'll portray it as though it does something, but I feel like it'll still be unclear, like, if it works or not, if that makes sense. But I agree that there will be a next step to the story. It won't just be like, you know.
Yeah, but you don't think that if someone goes through, we'll see where they went?
I do. But what I mean is, like, we won't necessarily know what that means.
Because it won't necessarily be like, oh, here's the place where all the 2% went. You're saying something will happen, but it'll still be like ambiguous if it's the exact same thing as the sudden departure.
For example, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, like they like offering answers, you know, and I mean, same thing for like an answer for the sudden departure. Like, I could see them throwing that out. I mean, they threw out, you know, David Burton, like, I just did it because I could, you know. I mean, I think they could do that, but I guess I think it'll be subjective, you know. It won't be clear that that's like really the truth, you know. About the sudden departure, even if they do throw out some kind of answer like that. But I think they might offer it to the audience, you know, if they want to believe that that's real.
Mm-hmm. It's like the end of Mad Men. Did Don create the Coke commercial?
Well, in that case, the answer is yes. So.
Well, clearly the answer is apparently yes.
Jeez.
All right. You want to go to the next part?
Sure. Okay. So, right. So then we go back to the present in Australia. Laurie arrives at Grace's house. That's right. With a black eye, and she meets Kevin Sr. out there. Oh, she has the book. She has the book, and she apologizes.
The book Kevin burned, but apparently it didn't burn completely because the book is haunted.
It's still there. I couldn't believe the book like survived. It almost.
I think they used it against us. They used our knowledge of Lost against us.
They did.
And was like, oh, this the thing we normally do when we're done with things? Yeah, we're gonna tell you we did it, but we're still not done with this fucking book.
The book will not go away. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't get even. It doesn't seem like that many characters even care about the book.
It's not about the book anymore, and like they all have the real thing now. So what does the book even matter?
Yeah, are they gonna like read from it like some kind of incantation? Like,
they better not.
I don't understand why they're even. Is this just gonna be like the explanation for, you know, why what's her name in the flash forward asked Nora about Kevin? Like, is this just gonna be the source? You know what I mean? Like, is this gonna explain like why the legend of Kevin survives? You know?
But that can't be why she's asking Nora. Like, Nora's been coming here every day or however often, and then just this one day she decides, hey, have you heard the Gospel of Kevin? Like, it's got to be predicated on something that just happened.
Yeah, that doesn't sound believable. I agree. But I'm just trying to understand like why the book is surviving.
Maybe what's gonna happen is they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do with Kevin, you know, dunking him in the pond, and he's gonna go to the hotel, whatever they're gonna do, and however that resolves itself, maybe, you know, Kevin Sr. will lose his faith that after that, you know, they didn't get the song or whatever, and maybe he'll finally destroy it, and that'll be the end. Like, maybe it's back in his hands, so he can be the one to destroy it, you know, and as a sort of, you know, thematic gesture of his whatever he's gonna do. But yeah, it's weird at this point. I don't know why they still have it. I feel like we know everything we need to know out of the book, you know, the important parts that were in there, unless they're gonna turn to some page and tell us something that's in there we haven't heard before,
right?
You know,
which I don't think they're. I mean, yeah, I think all this interesting stuff in there, I think is stuff from the show.
And connected to that, I guess Matt is never gonna really communicate to Kevin that he saw David Burton.
Doesn't look that way.
Yeah, that's a conversation that'd be good to have.
Well, I think that's the problem that like, yeah, like because the rest of the characters didn't have that experience with him, so
Mhm.
so yeah, now it's like he's not even gonna find out. Well, I guess the key question there is like if he gets dunked and goes to the hotel, is David Byrne gonna be there again? And
Yeah.
what's he
Oh,
gonna
maybe
say?
that's when he'll find out. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
he'll say. Be
Now,
like
if
some wanker named Matt, you know.
yeah, which they'll still have some plausible deniability if they want, because like the other characters generally know like he went to see some guy and he got eaten by a lion. So if he mentions those things, it'll be weird. But going back to the theory that he has a twin brother or something,
Oh yeah.
there will also be the question of like if it's David Burton 1 or David Burton 2. I don't know. They're two. They have the same name. I guess twins don't usually have the same name. But anyway,
David and David,
there you
please.
go, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like that's going. I think there's going to be some follow up to that, but it does seem like Matt's part of that is over.
I feel like if they go to the hotel, they got to make it real, right? The third time it's real, isn't that how
Third
it
time
works?
it's real.
Third time it's real. First time coincidence. Second time another coincidence. Or second time fake. Third time real.
Right. So
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, I was gonna get to this as it came up, but I mean, it seems like the right time. Like, I mean, basically, we get like a few things that people want from Kevin going into the hotel. We have Kevin Senior wants him to find Christopher Sunday and get the song. John wants him to find Evie and tell her she was loved.
That's beautiful.
Great, yeah, there you go. Grace wants him to go in there and find out where the shoes ended up.
Kids, where'd you put your shoes?
I know, like nothing about the love.
I thought that was a great. I mean, writing wise, that's such a great want. Like of all the things, she just is like, that'll put my mind at rest if I could just know where their shoes went. And it's and then I scratch my head because I'm like, the answer is probably somebody stole them, right? Like, it's probably like somebody stole them out there on the way. The kids left them. They probably didn't leave the house with no shoes. And they probably got stolen along the way. Like,
well, so I don't know what this means, but I think that that's connected with the bag of shoes that Kevin Sr. is carrying in the beginning. Like, I want to say there's going to be some crazy reveal that, like, when he was prying up the boards on the porch to bury the body of the chief, he, like, found the shoes, and that's supposed to like imply something, that there was like something horrible.
Oh god, and now he's
like
gonna
the dad killed the kid.
Yeah, something totally fucked up. Like with only 2 episodes left, I don't know that they would do that, but if like they found, I don't know. I just
and the fact that he hasn't mentioned it to her or is seeming normal. I guess he doesn't necessarily know what it means yet. I think the only way that would work is that the bodies aren't under the church, right? Because he would have just found like a bunch of bodies.
Right.
Well, they already found the bodies.
Yeah, that's right. The bodies were in the outback, right?
Yeah. They've already been discovered, so it would be a weird place to find the shoes. I was just thinking. I was thinking something different. That he found the shoes, and I mean, this is just the question. Like, what is this bag of shoes? Like, it's weird. That like he found the shoes, but he's gonna hide them, so that she'll like stay invested in drowning Kevin and all that. Like,
or these aren't the kid's shoes. They're just other kid shoes that he got. So maybe he thinks that's not a question that can be answered or something. and he wants her to stay invested. So he's gonna, I don't know, have some scheme and pretend like Kevin got the answer to where the shoes were. So he's gonna go like plant the shoes somewhere right now.
But if they're not I mean, I don't know. How well does she remember what the shoes were exactly? But
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
you know, I mean, yeah, I guess I thought it wouldn't be. I mean, Grace does mention that they were searching like thrift stores or something, like trying to find them. Like I was thinking maybe that's it. Like
And the shoes could like have their names in them or be personalized or something.
Yeah. That would be the easiest way to, you know. But the shoes thing, I was just gonna say is, you know, would really be the most like objective thing. Like if Kevin comes back and he knows where the shoes are, it's gonna be hard to argue the hotel's just in his mind. I mean, there must be some outside. I mean, you know what I mean? If he just comes up with that. You know, I mean, unless they're gonna like double back and say, well, while he was out on the horse, he found the shoes, and you know, I mean, I guess they could always, you know, but assuming there's not some weird thing like that, more so than the other things, you know.
God, I feel like
even the song. I mean, I think like, you know, it would be hard to just like come up with a song that would be convincing, but you know, none of them are necessarily experts on what those things are supposed to sound like. So, you know, it's the kind of thing where like if he's ever heard some kind of Australian Aboriginal song before, he could sort of make something up. And
Pandora has a good channel for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, that's not definitive. You know, seeing Evie, I mean, he already saw Evie. That's, you know, that's not going to mean anything.
Yeah.
So the shoes are going to be like the key thing if he comes back with shoe information.
Yeah, I feel like I could see him having a very flippant, oh, I saw a bunch of pile of shoes when I was riding the horse around. You know, I found a bunch of, you know, just saw a bunch of shoes out there. You know, like
right.
I could see him just not thinking anything of it, and later like having that answer. But yeah, I mean, the idea he's gonna go to the hotel and all of these particular people are gonna be there for what reason? You know, there's literally millions of people who are dead who are not at the hotel when Kevin goes there. So that's the kind of missing piece, I think, to this plan is how are they going to ensure that these people are actually at the hotel? I mean, obviously, they don't have to ensure it. They're just hoping it happens. But they seem like they know how this thing works more than I think than they actually do, you know?
Yeah, I think he's going to go to the hotel and he's not going to accomplish any of these 3 tasks.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be let down. I do think he'll see.
Well, because that's not the point.
But I feel like I don't know. I mean, I feel like he will have to, maybe not all 3, but I feel like there has to be like something of it that he accomplishes.
I'm not saying he's not going to accomplish anything. I'm just saying I could totally see him going to the hotel kind of space and having a conversation with, what's his name, David
Burton.
I'm going to say David Butler, that's someone else. You know, talking with David Burton and having an interesting conversation that sort of illuminates and raises other questions, but not being able to talk to Evie, because it's not, when we've seen it before, it's not like he shows up and he's like, okay, I want to see my dead kitty, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like Patty was there because she was this adversary. I don't know. I mean, maybe Mary was there because she knows him. It makes it seem like Evie would be the most likely person to be there. Christopher Sunday and, you know, Grace's kids seem like a big long shot. But who knows? Maybe his proximity, I don't know.
Well, kids can't even check into a hotel without an adult, so, you know.
That sounds like, that's a rock solid point right there. I think that's obviously not going to happen.
Yeah.
No, maybe they'll have a guardian or something.
Especially without shoes.
Do they still not have shoes? God, someone give him shoes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess we're all pontificating on what we think that's gonna happen in the hotel. Part of me wants it to not work this time. Like
That could happen.
Kevin blacks out or he whatever, but he doesn't really ever get to the hotel. It just kind of fizzles out. If he does go to the hotel, I kind of think like Jen says, like he's not gonna come back with all these answers and everyone, here's your thing and here's your thing, here's your thing. Like he's not gonna be the Wizard of Oz and hand out gifts to everybody. Maybe even David Burton.
It would be like the Wizard of Oz because the Wizard of Oz can't give those gifts. That's the point.
Well, but he gives them the gift of telling them that they already had the gift. That's kind of what his thing is going. Hey, you already proved that you have this thing, and they go, "Oh, you're right. So now I have it."
That's true, but I think the symbol that people often seize on with the man behind the curtain is this idea that he's a fraud, and it's so. Anyway, I think it's a hint.
For sure, yeah. And I was gonna say maybe David Burton might even tell Kevin that like he can't do what he's trying to do. Like you can't just like take information from the afterlife and bring it back. Like maybe there's a rule against that or something, or maybe there'll be some weird thing like that.
I wonder if we're gonna find out what he whispered on the bridge. I wonder if they're actually going to bring that up. I mean, if they're ever going to bring it up, like, it's the time. The time has come.
Yeah.
Remember what I told you on the bridge, mate? I don't know.
I think we're going to find out that if we talk to him, I think we're going to find out that he was not just straight murdering that guy on the boat, that he was trying to send him to the hotel.
Maybe, yeah. I was also going to say maybe, with the whole David Burton twin theory, maybe Kevin will see David Burton, but it'll be the guy Matt talked to, and which is not the guy Kevin talked to on the bridge. So maybe he'll be like, I don't know you, mate.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you before, mate.
Right.
And he's like, what? No, we had a whole thing, and we, whatever.
That must have been my twin brother. I can't do
exactly. He died. Yeah, he died, before or whatever.
Yeah, he did.
So or maybe we'll get the reveal. He's the one who died and came back to life. I'm just a fraud or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about this twin brother theory. No, I'm not a fan.
Well, so okay. I think it's justified by what they said in that episode. And the fact that story's unresolved and that guy's dead.
So, we do have this thing about twin babies, and one is the most, there's a title, I think the next episode title with something that might relate to that twin baby question, the baby who cures cancer versus the baby you kill. So there's a duality sibling thing happening that they could tie together to somebody else, But yeah, it's a crackpot theory. It's out there.
It's not clearly gonna happen, but it just seems like it seems a little bit less than crackpot to me. Mm-hmm. It's a little more than like it's obviously gonna be this. Like it's not that, but I think it's plausible. It's just I don't
We still need to know why David Burton in Kevin's hotel sequences knew what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna know that, but maybe he'll ask.
I just hope, because that is a refrain in this episode, is just tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Kevin will be like, how did you know to tell me what to do? Or maybe Kevin will be like, tell me what to do next or something. Because there'll probably be some other way he has to leave.
Right.
I don't know if it's karaoke again.
I can't imagine they'll do karaoke again.
Yeah, it'll be something else, and he'll be like, tell me what I have to do, and he'll be like, I don't know, mate. That's my Australian.
Don't ask me.
Don't ask me. Yeah.
You ain't my brother.
My brother? Crocodile. Oh, they great accent, those people. Cool. All right, you want to go to the next part?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't quite finish. Or maybe I am going to the next
Shoes,
part.
man. I didn't catch the bag of shoes because I didn't get the chance to rewatch
Yeah,
this.
Yeah, so I have
He's
another
carrying a
thought
bag
about
of
a bag of
shoes.
shoes, which is that maybe he's gonna try to have Kevin take it with him in case the kids are there and they still don't have shoes. That's why I was just like, God, this bag of
If
shoes.
you weren't a guest on this podcast, you'd be fired.
I mean, I just
He can't. He shows up naked. He can't take a bag of shoes to the hotel.
that's true.
There's no way.
Hey, I'm just trying. Hey, I'm trying.
You are trying.
I like the theory. It just
We
seems
reward effort here.
it's
It's a meritocracy. Here, Kevin, don't leave without this bag of shoes.
I like the idea of him sliding out of that bathtub naked but holding a bag of shoes.
Wow.
Oh, thank God the shoes made it.
That's his first line. Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
So where were
yeah. I was going to ask, did that whole thing... Oh, I was just going to say, speaking of Kevin in the hotel, like, we might have a chance to see Kevin Jr. tell Kevin Sr., I saw you on the TV.
Yeah, that's a good point. That should be in the book. That was something I asked about before.
It should be in the book.
When he was
but that
reading the
being
book.
burned.
Because he didn't seem to notice. He was so obsessed with being in the book, and it's like, you were in the fucking book, weren't you? I mean, you should have been if all that other shit was in the book. I mean, you know, but yeah, if it's not in the book, at the very least, Kevin should remember that happened.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know we are going to talk about politics, but I just got a flash of that Trump thing of, like, including his name in as many sentences as possible in the briefing so that he'll read them. It's like, I'm not in this book! No, Kevin, all the times when it says Kevin, I mean you. We're talking about you, Kevin Sr.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I can't believe he thinks he's going to do a rain dance and stop the flood. He's pretty calm about it.
Speaking of stories that I thought were going nowhere, but they're going all in with, like, that whole thing, when they introduced it, I was like, oh, silly Kevin Sr., you and your nonsense.
Well, John did bring it up. I love John's whole thing when he was like, tell me I'm crazy, Lori. We'll get to that scene, you know. And he even said, like, we just happened to go to a place where they built a boat for a completely different reason, but this crazy guy thinks it's part of his, you know, his whole setup here. And I'm glad that they said that, because that's what we're thinking, too. Like, it's just a coincidence. This boat's not for the flood, but yeah, that is how it looks, you know, to some people that Kevin just, you know, he has confirmation bias, and he's like, oh, that's part of my thing, too, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there better not be a flood. That's take a long time. And what are they going to do, like a montage of water rising around the world? Like...
Whether there's
Let's not watch that.
Whether there's a flood or not, I'm just surprised that like it's still a part of the plot that, like, you got to go find
this thing. Yeah,
song.
Like whatever they had at the beginning of the season, that was their thing. They're gonna stick with the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I thought they were going to get rid of the machine thing. I thought they're going to take a left turn and do something else.
It was just a one-off thing. Yeah, exactly. But it really wasn't. All that stuff really...
Maybe that's the thing they're trying to compare at the end of the season is the two big ideas of the fantasy thing of the flood versus the sci-fi thing of the machine, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah. And in this episode, we also get an explanation for why the French guy on the submarine, like, let off the...
Yeah, he thought he was killing Godzilla.
He thought he was... he thought he was killing Godzilla. Thank you. That's what it was, pretty much. But it's sort of like, I mean, you have to step back, and, I mean, I feel like this is like... you know, classic Lindelof thing. I mean, you have to step back and say, like, why is his story that much less ridiculous than Kevin Sr.'s story, or you know what I mean, or the machine? I mean, who are we to really? I mean, you know, what evidence do we have that any one of them is more reasonable?
Right.
You know, and so it's like, it's. I feel like the story is like partially. I mean, it's like I can't imagine the story ending this way, but like, could it just end with like they all get hauled away to jail?
You
I
mean
mean,
like the way Seinfeld ended?
yes,
Oh, God.
yeah. Could it just end like Seinfeld? Exactly.
Oh, jeez. So Jerry. Yeah, let's hope not.
I can't imagine, but on the other hand, it's sort of like
You
it'll
mean to jail because the police officer got murdered?
yeah, and the other police officer gets like knocked out and
Oh, yeah,
left
yeah.
somewhere. Just it's I mean, obviously, like they didn't all murder him, but they are accomplices at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just seems like it could just end. Yeah, maybe they just get deported or something, but like. It would be a weird anticlimax if like nothing works and they all just have to like live with the consequences of the damage that they've wrought with their crazy schemes, because I mean the nuclear submarine thing was along those lines. It's like crazy. I mean that he was willing to go that far because of this crazy idea that he had. And I don't know. I mean, or will it be? I mean, maybe there will be a storm, but like, I mean, who's to say? That's not necessarily going to prove that he's right.
Yeah, I mean, what'll prove it is if and maybe not even then. I was going to say what'll prove it is if there is a storm and it's flooding and he does a dance and it stops, but that could be a coincidence too.
Yep.
But how many coincidences do you need to have before it means something?
Right. Well, I guess
that's life.
That's life. Exactly. How many are you willing to accept? Because I feel like the hotel's already thrown like quite a few like crazy things at us, and yet it's still it still seems uncertain whether it's in his head or not. And I'm ready to die on the shoe hill. Like if he comes back with shoes, to me that's like that's a big thing. But then you're right that like there's a way out of that. They just had to have him ride around on a horse right before he did it, so that like there's a chance he just happened to find the shoes that they looked all over for and couldn't find. It's a coincidence, but it's possible.
Maybe the kids like took their shoes off and like tied all the laces to all the shoes for like some reason. I'm just trying to think of like maybe the shoes are like maybe they were trying to climb a tree. I don't know. There are trees in the outback.
Yeah, must be. I mean, at least some.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to do something. I guess I was just saying maybe they're trying to do something with the shoes, and that's why the shoes are all like in one place somewhere. Right. And Kevin will see it or something or
Yeah, that would make sense.
All right.
So should we continue here, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, so she gives him the book, and she finds out Kevin's off having a think, as he says. She finds out he's supposed to die again. And John and Michael are there, and she claims that she wants to be a part of what's happening there. I have my doubts about that, but at that point we cut. Oh,
she wants to be a part, all right.
Well, okay,
she wants to be the part that stops it.
You're right. She wants to be a part. A part of it doesn't necessarily mean a willing helper kind of figure. Yeah. Way to go, Lori. You got me with language.
She's a therapist.
I know, right? I guess that's her game. Nice game. Anyway, so then we go to a flashback. So I guess structurally that's how this episode works. We're cutting between flashbacks to how she ended up arriving at Grace's house, and I guess like what happened shortly after they arrived on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So we jump back to Laurie spying on the two doctors from from the death ray cult that interviewed Nora. She ends up getting chased away by a dog, but she shows a picture to Nora and it's clearly them. And Matt thinks they should be wearing lab coats or they're not really physicists. So I think that's the end of that bit there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Laurie's little spy saga here. Jumping from that 10 foot tall roof, that was dangerous.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that part. I was just, found it interesting. They don't look like physicists to me either, because they're not doing physics at home. They should be taking their work home with them if they care that much. No, I don't know.
They already understand everything they need to understand.
There's no more work to do. Okay.
The physics is over now.
We're in post-physics.
It's a post-physics world. Exactly. As soon as they built the machine, there was no more physics.
There's no more physics. How does the machine work?
With the old physics.
But you said there's no more.
Yeah. Well, the old physics is still around, but there's no need to talk about it because they already understand everything.
Because they perfected it with the machine.
Exactly.
I got it.
Yeah.
You're making total sense.
Yeah. I try to make total sense. That's my goal in general. All right, so we ready to go to the next part?
Uh-huh.
So we go back to Grace's. Kevin Sr. talks about waking up there, finding the dog's pain pills, and discovering Grace, killing the other Kevin, who's now under the church. There's actually there's 3 Kevins. And he talks about the plan that Kevin's gonna get drowned and go to the other side, find Christopher Sunday, get the song. He sings the song and then stops the flood. Okay, sure. John's waiting for Evie. We haven't quite found out exactly what he wants yet. We talked about it earlier. Anyway, they all want something. They reference the Emerald City, which we talked about. And they're expecting her to say like they're all crazy, but she's like, no, these are crazy times, and
yeah.
Which is true. I'll give it that.
It's very understandable response, and that's the thing that's hard in this world, right? Is you should be taking, if you're trying to figure out what's going to happen or what's possible in this world, you should be considering that the this very unlikely event happened. So, but like we said before, how far do you take that? Does this one crazy thing happening mean that other crazy things have an equal likelihood of happening, or does it not mean that? And how do you tell?
Right. Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think of Y2K or something, and what different people thought was a reasonable way to prepare for something that they had no reason to necessarily believe that these crazy things would happen, or to what extent. But I mean, this is a theme,
especially because the true Y2K was
Y2K01.
Y2K01.
Yes, and I think this is one of the big themes throughout each of the 3 seasons is what happens to people when something so inexplicable and traumatic happens. And so you see the rise of the cult of cults and hugging the pain away,
Cult
but
leaders.
also, but all these different ways. And so if you hold up these different examples of characters throughout the series and the way that they have responded to the sudden departure, you sort of see this really widespread. I mean, but it's also a little bit like Middle Ages kinds of stuff. Like, when you don't understand something that is happening in the world, like, you seek to make sense of it, and it drives you to some kinds of crazy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think in
The Red
context
Woman.
of humanity, like it's this is the thing we keep doing. They went all the way back to the cave woman and said, she was doing a kind of thing like that. Things were happening in her life, and she was attributing it to the bird or to other. She doesn't know what an earthquake is. She doesn't know this. Seismology behind it. And that's and so it's kind of the same situation here. Like, if there was some science to know about the departure, people would be able to put it in the right context, or understand the context to put it in.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. They're just doing the same thing over and over again.
We've even got a new gospel.
And there's a new gospel now. The gospel according to Kevin. Yeah. Why does Kevin Sr. think a flood's gonna happen again? Did he just pull it out of his ass?
It was because, the
spider in the Washington rain.
Itsy Bitsy Spider. Like, the basic answer is yes, but yeah, that's where it came from. I mean, there was at least mention of rain.
To me, out came the sun and dried up all the rain. Sounds like the sun going supernova to me. I don't know about you.
Oh boy.
Like,
heard it here first.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the end of the show.
Supernova.
Supernova, and Earth is burned to a crisp.
Now that would be an ending.
Now no one's left over.
Oh no. Honey, I think I burned the leftovers.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. Show's over.
None of the shows end in a supernova for my taste.
I agree. In fact, I can't think of a single show that ended with a supernova.
Right? Isn't that the problem?
Somebody needs to do it.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Our first black president, we can't even get a TV show to end with a supernova? I mean...
What's the point?
Wow. Thanks, Democrats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're destroying your own party.
Exactly. One TV show ending at a time.
One failure to write a supernova at a time.
Yeah. All right. Where are we in this thing?
Do you want to go to the next thing here?
Yeah, real quick. Is this so? This is the part where she's like, everybody wants something.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was nice to point out, because I think we were trying to figure that out before. What these people want. I guess, what does Michael want? Does he count as a real person on this show? He gets so little attention.
Yeah.
I forgot, did they say he wanted anything?
He doesn't ask for anything. He doesn't even say what he would want to say to Evie.
That's right. Yeah, and he did bring Lori here. Far, right?
It seems like he passes on being one of the apostles. I mean, it seems to me like he's disconnected from believing in this program.
What happened?
I don't know.
Character arcs happening off screen.
Yeah, I mean, Matt's was at least somewhat on screen. In the case of Michael, I really don't know at what point or why he changed his mind. Yeah. I
guess he didn't necessarily know they wanted Kevin to go die again, right? When he was on the plane.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Maybe that's too far for him or something.
Right.
Although he seems to believe Kevin could do it. I mean, or he did it before at least.
Right.
So that's a little weird. But I guess we'll get some more from Michael explaining himself next episode.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when this turned with Michael.
Yeah. Like, where was he on the boat? Like, I don't really know.
We didn't see him much on the boat.
No, I know.
Because the whole point was Matt and the gang were going to go get Kevin and bring him back to Miracle. But once they get on the boat, John's like, you're not in control of this thing. And they seem to all sort of relent and realize they're not going to get back to Miracle. And then by the time they get to the ranch, it seems like the plan has, from Kevin Sr. is like, no, we're going to dunk him and he's going to stop the world. So maybe maybe Michael doesn't believe in the flood. He doesn't believe what Kevin Sr. is saying.
Right.
And since he's kind of leading this thing, maybe that is why he's off the party boat.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. All right. Well, next part.
Yeah. So in the next part, we go back to the Lori, Nora, Matt stakeout. Nora insists that the machine is not a suicide machine.
What?
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Here's character arc number 3 happening off screen.
I know. I'm confused about that. So I mean, okay, let me just finish here. Then she mentions if I was gonna kill myself, I'd go scuba diving because there's so many ways to die, and then
that's fucking elegant.
You would have some. You would have there would be sort of a plausible I guess people who knew you wouldn't have to believe that you killed yourself because there's things that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like that was sort of the argument.
Yeah, I really like this this rapport, this really tense rapport between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Nora was weird in the van. She starts the episode off being weird and sort of manic, and I don't know why. I mean, the last time we saw her was the whole Kevin broke up with her, right? So I was a little confused why she just had a strange energy. She's eating this fruit or whatever, and she just seems super tense. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, she ever since this has been going on for a little while, but I think especially since the
Is she pregnant? Is that why she's eating?
I don't think so.
I don't remember the scene. I don't remember the scene where she mentions the IUD, but doesn't she say? Ah, God, I should have looked it up.
She said she went before you got to the hotel. I went to a clinic and got my IUD taken out. Is that what you're talking about?
Before you got to the hotel?
Mm-hmm. Who's she talking to?
Okay, sorry, but in Australia.
She did this in Australia.
In Australia. So it couldn't have been. I mean,
right? So she's not pregnant.
The last time she had sex with Kevin was at the airport, and
well, you're not
got pregnant when she had the IUD in, and it's just a miracle.
Oh,
there's a song for that.
Right. I don't. They're mentioning stuff like that so much, and the fact that that's a well, shall we say, that shows go to pretty often at the end, symbol of hope, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's starting to seem like
maybe that's what's gonna happen.
Like they're gonna do that.
Yeah, maybe she'll go to the machine and she'll berate them into taking her back, and they'll say, "Okay, fine, since you're here." And then they'll do a scan, and they'll say she's pregnant.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening.
Or they'll just reveal they knew she was pregnant from before and didn't tell her or something. Or,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Matt will have to go or something. Or, Or I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but if she went to a clinic to get her IUD taken out, they wouldn't. I mean, I guess maybe they wouldn't. I think they would check to see if she was pregnant before taking out the IUD. I don't know. Maybe they do things differently in Australia. But
Yeah,
I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted it as Shia was really angry when the two physicists rejected her. She's been keyed up a lot of the season, but in this scene and the scene that comes later with the thing about the IUD, I feel like this is just, she does not want Laurie around for this. Because she knows that Laurie is, like, psychoanalyzing her. And she just wants her to leave her alone. I mean, she basically says that. Like, you can go now. You found us the address. You've helped us. Now go help Kevin. Like, I don't want you here. And then, you know, with, you know, I feel like the subtext in this scene, especially on the rewatch, I felt like the subtext was that Nora knows that Laurie's suicidal. And so it's like, don't you come in here trying to, like, run my life, trying to, you know, do your therapy on me. Like, take care of your own damn self. Like, just get out of my business. So that's kind of how I interpreted that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
and I just hope she's not pregnant because I'm so bored of that.
Yeah.
I hope she's not too, but the signs are there, and it's such a, you know, common thing to go to, because it's like an emotional center. It can be, you know, she's apart from Kevin, but it provides this connection, you know, between them. I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
I don't want it to be true, but and like I was convincing myself that it wasn't, but there have been several signs pointing in that direction, and another line about it, you know, and it's gonna be like 100% true. Like, you know, I'm already like ready to believe it at this point. You know, I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, maybe they figure out a way to do it where it, you know, it doesn't seem like the same thing a million other shows have done. But yeah, it definitely seems like there's a strong chance they'll go in that direction. The end of this scene is another thing.
Yeah, but you know, that would explain why, if she is already pregnant and she, like, that would explain why they would take out the IUD, because you need to get it out. If she was pregnant, it would explain why, like, why bother going to get your IUD taken out while you're on a trip halfway across the world?
Well, I think the potential other explanation is that they specified that you can't have the IUD in when you go in the machine.
Oh,
that was.
So she'd want to get it taken out so she could go.
So she can go in the machine.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the other I mean, that's the in-story explanation for why she did it, but it opens up the door for.
Gotcha.
For some kind of pregnancy plot line, and yeah,
yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I'm believing it. I don't necessarily want to, but I'm believing it.
All right, we got John Locke and Echo here.
It's just too powerful. I mean, it's just too. I mean, name a show that doesn't go there at some point. I mean, I guess they already had their baby plot line. But, you know,
this
it was an adoption.
This tied back to that, right? Because she did give the baby back and resented giving the baby back. And there's a symmetry to the woman who lost all her kids having another go at it.
Yep.
I would hope that they do something different with it, and it, you know, we don't actually have to see the baby ever. You know, we don't get some, you know, flash forward where she's got the baby, and you know, I don't know if we'll go that far with it, but it seems like it'll be used for drama, and maybe it'll be ambiguous. You know, maybe it'll just be a thing they say, and we won't be quite sure.
Yeah,
we'll see.
There's only, I mean, the good news is that there's only 2 episodes left, so how the baby content cannot be very extensive. I guess like what I'm worried about is that they try to lean on the baby for like a heavy emotional moment, and like I feel like that's not. I don't know. I feel like that's not going to work that well, and so I hope that's not. I hope they don't try to put too much weight on the baby. At the very least, the baby cannot play a big role in the story.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be a decision point. It'll be okay. You can go through the machine, but you're pregnant,
Yeah.
and you'll lose the baby if you do.
Right.
But I'm not pregnant. Well, yeah. David Cross shows up. So this whole thing we were kind of talking about a little bit, the suicidal when you see it. God, Nora was just so weird in this whole scene. Like she's sort of not taking Matt's situation, as heavy as it should be. Her brother's dying, and like she's telling him that it's she's intimating it's bad that he's not doing anything about it, but she's not doing anything about it. Yeah, I don't know. She came off very strange and manic. Manic is not the right word. She keyed up, is a better word for it. But she was for the situation. I don't know. She was like kind of giddy and anxious. So yeah, it'd be interesting if that was a response to the energy Laurie is giving her or something. But to me, yeah, I couldn't really pin down why she was behaving that way. I thought something happened in a scene we didn't see, because we haven't seen her for a while, and she has a completely different personality and viewpoint on the machine now. So something changed, and maybe that's why because she's like certain about it now. Maybe something happened and she's convinced this is her thing. So that's why she's kind of more lighthearted and taking things sort of in stride, because she feels like she's got an answer, to something.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm curious about when she decided the machine is a real thing, or if she always believed it and she was just saying that, or you know what I mean? Like, what was the balance of all that?
I've never been sure what.
I was never convinced that she was like gonna expose them or something. Like that never sounded plausible to me as like a storyline, or that she even was, really, really intended to do that. But I am surprised that she believes in the machine. I
think it's just the lure is too much for her to not be seduced by the possibility that it could be real.
But that's the thing. That's Nora's thing, though, is when the supernatural or the improbable, when she's facing that, her go-to is to deny it and to like ruin everybody's fun in it too, right? And she kind of did that, right, when she was saying, okay, it's a death machine. But the question is, what changed to make her not have that same kind of response of like not getting her hopes up? Because now it seems like her hopes are up. So why would she be getting her hopes up? What new information did she have? Like, because her hopes didn't really even seem up. She wanted them to take her, but I still didn't feel like she was convinced it did anything. She just kind of wanted to like have the choice to go, and was upset it got taken from her.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say, like, the experience of coming so close to going through it, like, she felt like it was within her grasp or something. But also, just combined with this, like, weird energy of her relationship with Kevin now being over and her brother's dying, so like all of her family, because Kevin and Matt are the last of her family, so to speak. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did feel like she had an energy that was similar to this at the end of the episode before last, like when she goes back to the hotel room and she's like rigging the smoke detector and she's smoking when Kevin comes in and she's like,
But that was like, you're right. I agree with you, but that felt like the bulk of it was anger, right? Like she was mad at those people and she was directing,
yeah,
like. But she doesn't seem angry in these scenes. That's kind of the difference I'm seeing. But you're right. There was a bit of that keyed up energy in that, which
Yeah.
made sense because it was the climax of the episode and all that
Right.
stuff. If he came in and she was like sleeping, it'd be a weird scene. Honey, wake up! I need to break up with you. But I was just gonna say maybe the answer is because they do this a lot, where like we sit here and wonder when did the characters change their mind, and it was in the scene we saw it. It just didn't appear that was what they were telling us. So maybe she changed their mind when they told her no and didn't want to take her money. Maybe that convinced her it was real. Like that if they weren't going to take her money, then it's not a scam. So it must be real if they're willing to like not let me do it. So maybe that's supposed to be where she changed her mind on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense.
Well, good.
I think we figured it out. Wow.
Woo, guys, I didn't know that was going to make any sense. So
Well done.
I'm glad we got some consensus here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should have been the name of the podcast, Consensus. No, kidding.
We're all about building consensus here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Mr. Podcast is all about.
Yeah, building consensus, one consensus at a time. Consensi? Consensei?
Yeah, consensum.
Consensuses? Consensum? Oh, yikes.
Yeah. I went there.
I like
It's
consensi.
Latin.
I think consensi.
Consensai.
Consensi seems like it should be plural.
Yeah, isn't that what we're talking about?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you thinking of the singular?
I was thinking of singular.
Consensi.
Sorry, you're right. Consensi. Or consense, depending on whether it's masculine or feminine.
I don't know. I'm rusty on my Latin. So.
Aren't we all? I just learned that recently, that's a thing. The alumnus, alumni.
But it is 2017, so we can also just say alumni.
Latin?
Latin? What? Yes, 2017, the year of Latin.
Yeah.
This is when it makes a comeback.
I heard 2017, and I just, it just made me think about Latin, because,
Because it's the contemporary...
it's clearly on the rise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're doing our part to keep it in the zeitgeist.
Yeah. And zeitgeist is one of the many words that will be gone
now.
once Latin rises again.
Finally, someone can rid this world of the scourge that is zeitgeist.
That crazy German nonsense. Yeah, we don't need that. They got along just fine in the Roman Empire without zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm. Or did they? Maybe that's why they fell. They didn't have a word for zeitgeist.
I guess like Tempus Spiritum.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I was thinking.
Wow, now we really are just like trying
I was thinking
to speak
We're a linguistics podcast all of a sudden.
In this episode of Mr. Podcast, we're going to be doing our best to bullshit Latin translations of languages we don't speak. Don't worry. Don't worry, we don't speak Latin either.
Yeah, share with your friends.
Oh boy. Is there another scene?
Yes, a million more scenes.
There's an end part to this scene.
4 minutes.
We actually haven't made it to the end of this scene yet.
Alright, lay it on us.
Just for the record. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so at the end of this scene, towards the end of this scene, Nora asks what Laurie would say in a reading You know, like she was doing with John if she asked to speak with her kids. And Lori says they didn't do departures. And she gives an answer for why they don't do departures. We talked about this in a previous episode. They tried it. They didn't just go straight to we don't do it. They tried it, and John was apparently attacked. And the conclusion was basically like people who knew departed people, like they did not want closure. If they got closure, it sort of, I don't know, made them angry or something. And Nora says she does want closure, but
does she?
But yeah, we finally find out like what the story is with like why they were, you know, why not just take the money and like help people, you know, like supposedly after 3 it's like, well, okay, let's just not bother with that anymore. We can just say, you know, we can't help with that, and you know, nobody gets attacked, and you know, it's all fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. It made sense that, and I don't know if they don't want closure so much as closure doesn't satisfy their need, you know, because I think there's that, like, what I got from it was like no matter what they said, you know, they couldn't prove it was true. And so the person grieving just didn't need to believe them, you know? Because if you say, yeah, your kids are fine, they departed, and your family's fine, they're living life somewhere else great, like, that sucks in a way because you'll never see them again, you know? Versus if they're dead and you believe in an afterlife, you could see them again, you know? Or if you say they departed and they're just gone from existence, well, no one wants to hear that, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see, like, not really having any good answers.
Yeah, you know, it makes me want to hear what they actually said in those 3 readings that they did. Because, you know, we have all these platitudes that, for, you know, when people die, similar to what you're laying out of, like, it depends on what your faith is and whether you think you'll ever be able to see them again. But there does seem to be, and this is what the death ray machine is kind of all about, is like, you're not going to see them when you die. Like, if you believe in an afterlife, they're not in heaven waiting for you because they didn't die in that way. Yeah. And so I'd be really curious what they actually said, and yeah.
Yeah, and the whole idea of pretending that they are actually communicating with the departed people, you know, is an extra insult, I think, because, you know, it's all a sham. And so if you're like, well, ask you know, my kids where they left their shoes or something, you know, like, you're gonna quickly get in a situation where, like, you're just gonna be making shit up, and you really can't keep that farce going that you are really talking in real time to a departed person.
Well, couldn't that happen if they claim to be talking to dead people as well? I mean, that was bullshit too. Like, I still don't really understand why it's different. I mean, people don't know. I mean, you have a body, sure, but I mean, people don't know what happens after death any more than they know what happened in the departure.
Well, but so I think the difference is that with the departure, they're still alive, right? So you're talking to like a real live person. Then you can ask them, like, you know, what world are you at, or is it like Earth or whatever, you know? And they'd have to just make something up, which they would have to make something up if they asked a dead person, you know, what's death like or heaven like or something. You know, but I think that's the difference, is they're not dead, you know, they're still actively living, and you are saying, you know, that you're talking to them.
So you think they're definitely still actively living? I mean, I
don't feel like that's clear, but it does seem like
that's clear, but I think that's one possibility. Yeah.
Well, you know, it raises another question, which is like, what if...
Real quick, if they're pretending to talk to them, then they have to be living, right? Unless you're
saying... No, don't they pretend to talk to the dead people?
But they're not...
No, but I'm saying, in order for it to be a different case, they're not saying we can't talk to dead departed people, right? Like, they don't seem to be making the distinction that the departed people are dead. You know, they're making the distinction that they're not dead. That's why we don't do it this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess I also don't know exactly what they do. I mean, they showed us what the guy in season 2 did, but they didn't show us as much of what these two have been doing. But I kind of got the impression that it was sort of generalized stuff, that it wasn't necessarily like, oh, okay, I can hear your father's voice now, and he's saying, blah blah blah, like a medium would do or something. But it's more like, speculative. Like, this is what it was like in those final months of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Not that sort of like first person interpreter kind of, I'm gonna channel your son now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very vague how she describes it, but she just says, if we indicated otherwise just by saying we're able to communicate with those individuals, it made their loved ones very, very angry. So yeah, how much communication, that's up for question, what they exactly mean by that.
Because,
but
yeah, there are a lot of questions that, I don't know. I don't know what on earth they would say to a question like, where are you and what is it like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you answer that question? Because that's, I mean...
Well, yeah, you just make something up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I still don't get why it doesn't work.
Well, I don't think we're going to get there in this conversation, then.
Maybe you need a third rewatch.
I mean, I get what they're saying. I just don't understand why it works better to make up lies about.
Because the point is that the departure is substantively different than death.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
I'm not saying it's not, but
yeah, but I mean, I think that's the point. Is they're saying to the average human being in this situation, the departure is so different than death that it doesn't work. And I think maybe that's kind of to your point. Like, it should make sense. Like, what's the difference? Well, the difference is in practice and the execution. They have different outcomes.
Right.
So maybe, like, you're right. Like you're saying, like, on the surface there shouldn't be any difference, but in execution they're saying there's a difference.
Right.
Because the departure is an unknown. It's a thing, we didn't evolve to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have stories that we tell our kids about the great departure,
Not yet.
This world will,
Right.
But and then maybe future generations, will look at it differently.
Yeah, we don't have a way of understanding the departure, so we can't process that.
So they respond in anger because it's frustrating,
Right.
Cool. Next part.
All right. So, in the next part,
I'm sorry. There was something I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I loved that Nora was like, you did departures when you and your pals had life-size replicas made of my family and that's my kitchen table. I thought that was nice to bring up. Should throw that in her face. And then Laura was like, oh, just like, don't mind us. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say, well, I mean, that wasn't exactly the same thing. I mean, that was when I was in the Guilty Remnant. That wasn't,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Completely different context. I mean,
the Lori all in white, right? The other thing I liked was when they said, I love Maddie's like, do our parents, they're dead.
Right.
That was weird. Matt was a little weird in this episode too. And so like Lori didn't know how their parents died. I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Close are you people? Clearly not close at all.
Not too close. Yeah.
And then there was another thing I thought was good. That was this whole thing about the accident, scuba diving. Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that at the end. Yeah, okay, cool. That's all I have to say.
All right, so you're ready for the next thing.
Ready?
Okay, so we go back to Grace's. Laurie and Kevin Sr. are interrupted by the arrival of a cop, and Grace shows the cop around and outside. Presumably trying to make sure he doesn't find the body that's in plain view if he goes in the church. That wasn't the greatest plan. Anyway, Laurie tells John she cannot disclose Nora's whereabouts, let's see. She was. Let's see. He left her behind after Kevin told him where he was. I guess.
At the airport, I guess.
Yeah. Was that in the scene? I didn't catch that on the rewatch either, but maybe that happened.
What happened?
She was upset that John went to find Kevin. Like, I guess she thought he was at the airport and he didn't tell her that he wasn't. Oh yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, because John's like, how did you find us out here?
Right.
And she doesn't tell him that Michael had told her, which he'd done in secret. So it's sort of like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you led me to believe you were still at the airport and like you were coming out here. You knew where Kevin was and you came here. Why did you leave me in the dark?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't bring her because she didn't believe in Kevin, basically.
Yeah, you brought her along for the trip to begin with, dude. And he's like, "Hey, it's my wife. She's coming with me."
He did say that.
He said that.
It's true. He asked where she got the black eye. She says from Nora. So this sets up like a very, very mini mystery. How did she get the black eye? So then they see outside Kevin Sr. Hit the cop with a shovel, and I guess they bandage his head, and Kevin Sr. is going to take him and drive him off, to some faraway place in the outback, I guess, to make sure that they can complete their mission without, the authorities interrupting. I guess it's about to happen, so it's a short timeline. Yeah, so I guess that's the end of this bit here.
I feel like this isn't really the juicy part of the scene, though.
Okay, should I just keep going?
Get to the juice.
Okay, so we'll go to the juice. So, I was kind of surprised that they escalated with this cop thing. At least they didn't kill the cop, but still, though, it does seem like they're gonna have something to answer for later.
That does seem like Kevin Sr. though.
Oh, it totally seems like Kevin Sr. But I mean, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He's willing to do whatever it takes. Who cares the consequences?
Pretty much, yeah.
Are the consequences?
Oh.
That was horrible.
That was great.
Are the police sequences?
Oh God.
Didn't work.
Yeah,
Didn't. You gotta try it out and see.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that one stays with you.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think it's hard to move on from that. Wow.
Wow, you're still reeling.
I thought consequences was a problem, but man.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know problem.
You didn't know what a problem was.
Yeah. Okay, so getting to the juice here. Sorry, that sounds horrible. I
Starting to get moist in here.
What?
Starting to get moist. We're getting to the juice.
Yeah, okay. See, I immediately wished I hadn't said it, and then you made it worse.
Yeah, I made it worse on purpose.
Oh, okay, it was on purpose. Is that worse or better? I think it's a little better, but it's also worse. Anyway, so Kevin Sr. leaves, and then we go to John and Lori, and John admits that he felt like he could tell her anything except about the fact that he believed Evie could still be alive. And I guess that's why he kept the whole Kevin thing from her that whole time when they were like writing the book and stuff. And I don't know, maybe he helped write the book. I feel like the authorship question is, like the Shakespeare authorship question. It's something that we might end up having to think about, after the show's over. Who wrote which parts, and also who got the information.
I think my hunch is John didn't do much with the book. He only told Matt what he knew of when he shot Kevin, the details of that.
Right, that makes sense.
Because I think that's all he can really vouch for. Michael knows about the resurrection, being buried and coming back. And I think Kevin told Michael about the hotel stuff afterwards or something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of think Matt was the one who wrote it, and he just, got some input from the other guys.
Right.
But I do want to point out, I think, a bit of a sliding in John's thinking here. Because in this scene, right, he's telling Lori that he thought he could tell her anything except that Evie was still alive, right? So before he thought, well, Evie did it before, she showed up and we thought she was gone, but he's basically saying, even though a missile hit the visitor center and the guilty remnants exploded, maybe somehow she got away, right? But somehow he slid that into thinking, well, now she's dead.
Yeah.
But she's at the hotel now, and I can talk to her still. So what happened there? Right. Like, when did that change? He thought his daughter was alive in the real world, and now he's like, no, she's dead, and she's with, Kevin can reach her.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I didn't even think this through. So the problem is that, so I remember at the beginning of the season when he was like, yes, she did it before, and it was sort of wrapped into this whole, all these crazy things are happening. I mean, why not,
Exactly, yeah.
But at the same time, it seems like he wants some kind of closure. He wants, he wants to deliver this message that I was about to say. So I'm tempted to say that because Kevin Sr. has offered, this way of providing that closure, he's willing to buy into Evie being dead if and Kevin did see her.
You're saying, I was gonna say one closure in the hand is worth 2 non-closures in the bush.
Exactly. That's I think that's a thing that people say.
Can I just tell you how they could have fixed this?
Okay. Sure.
I think they could have fixed it by just having John. This could have been a test for John to say, listen, I think Evie is still out in the real world, but hey, Kevin's gonna go to the hotel. If he doesn't see her, that's proof to me, and convinces me that I'm right, that she's still in the real world. And if he does see her, okay, I'm sad she's dead, but then give her this message.
Right.
So I don't know why they couldn't have just kind of couched it in both things and let him say, hey, this will be proof to me if she's in the real world or not. And this will, and I can tell Erica, you're right. Our daughter did die. She was at the hotel.
Well, maybe that is the idea.
Well, they
just didn't really say it clearly.
They could also have had a line where she was like, "What changed your mind?" And he was like, "Yeah, this thing." And then they tell us
I mean,
that
I
doesn't.
think that might end up being the idea, but it's not how they're setting up the situation. You know, they're setting it up like he thinks she's dead,
Right.
and that you know, this he you know, it's not about getting anything to prove what he thinks about her state of living or death, but that he just wants to give her a message. You know.
Right.
Clearly Kevin's going to be like, yeah, I gave her the message, you know, and whether or not he sees Evie or not, he's going to tell her that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, did you tell your folks I said hi? Yeah.
Totally. They say hi right back. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool. There's other things in here I want to bring out, but I don't remember what they are, so we can move on unless there's some.
Yeah, just get to the end of the scene. So, yeah, as we mentioned before, the message is he wants her to know she was loved, not why she left her family. Because, you know, I mean, whatever. We understand, right? Then she basically invites Lori to say, like, tell me we've gone too far. We can just go home. We can not do any of this. And Lori declines to do that. She decides to let him go through with it. You're so close. Just, you know.
Mm-hmm. Got to see it through.
Get to the end, which this is, you know, this is where it's sort of like, I mean, this was her chance. You know,
but she didn't take it for a reason.
Why didn't she take it?
Because she's got a long con she's playing here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because she knows.
Wait, what's the long con?
The long con is she wants to talk to Kevin alone, and she wants to get all these people, you know, out of the, you know, she wants to find a way to get control of the situation, but also not derailing what they want. You know, she's like willing to let them make their own choices after she gets a chance to like talk to Kevin and figure out what's going on.
Okay.
So I think that's why that's the Judas part she's playing, right? And that's what was surprising, I think, to the audience. You know, when you're seeing her do these anti-Lori things, like just be reasonable, understandable. And when people say, "Tell me I'm crazy," she would love to. I mean, she wouldn't use the word crazy because she's a therapist, but you know, she would love to have, you know, for people to invite her opinion that they're, you know, thinking about these things in the wrong way, and then she verifies them, you know. And so when she doesn't, when she's like, "No, John, I'm not going to say stop. You know, you got to see this through." You're like, "Wow, that's interesting, Lori." But I think that's all the long con she's playing as the Judas here, where she's gaining everybody's trust and you know, she's going around everybody hearing what they got to say, but you know, she's still in control.
What also reminds me of that line that they repeat a couple of times about you don't tell somebody in the midst of a psychotic break that they're crazy. That like if you just tell them yes, you've gone too far, it's like they already know that she thinks that this is bullshit. I mean, that's what they led with the scene with, but you know, they have to figure out for themselves whether they believe in what they're doing. And so I think she's letting it play out because it's the only way that they will be able to come to any kind of resolution about what they have believed during this time.
Yeah, because if she stops this opportunity and takes it away from them, they'll never know the truth. They'll never have you know, gotten the evidence of their own conviction. You know, so I think she has to kind of let it play out. And if Kevin, if you're gonna die, or if I think you're gonna die if you drown yourself, but if that's what you want to do to prove your point, then you know, we live in a crazy world. My fetus got departed, you know, so
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Did we talk about that?
Not yet.
No, because we haven't gotten to that scene.
Because we haven't gotten there yet.
But
okay.
But yeah, that's definitely a thing that's coming. Sort
like
of soon.
Is it?
Like what?
Like
the flood.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
You seem to doubt the flood, sir.
I doubt the flood very strongly.
Oh, wow,
Like,
we got it.
of all these people, I feel like Kevin Sr. is the least likely to end up being vindicated.
Yeah, you mean with this crazy white fella thinking?
With this crazy white fella thinking, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like I'm just clinging to this. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's right, and the fucking machine works. Everything's true, for all I know. Wayne heals people with hugging.
Wayne was
It's
right.
all true.
True.
And the
Man,
three girls did depart.
Oh, that'd be a great.
Oh, wow.
All true. Everything was always true all the time.
The show's starting to make me feel crazy because it keeps like insisting on these points that I feel like it's gonna discard like right away. You know, it's like, why is the book still here? God damn it!
Yeah, why is the book still here? Indeed.
What is the point of that? I don't understand.
And it calls into question if they're gonna find the other book he threw in the trash. I mean, at least that one
Yep.
wasn't burned.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, why the fuck not? I mean, he burned it. He burned it, and it's apparently still like somewhat intact. Like, wow.
Fireproof pages.
Fireproof. He forgot about the fireproof.
That's what he wasn't counting on.
But the one thing he didn't count on: fireproof pages.
Nice try, Kevin. The pages were fireproof.
Oh no! Unlike your life, you couldn't burn it down.
Wah, wah.
Oh, Kevin.
Oh my god. Oh, Kevin. I'm back, Kevin.
Oh no.
I thought we were going to see Patty. I thought when Nora goes up to the Guilty Remnant ladies, I thought that one of them was Patty and we were going to see her.
Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe we'll see her
No
in the
such luck.
hotel.
No.
They were just faceless.
We're not going to see her again in the hotel.
I do feel like the show owes us, but the thing, like, I guess, like, they committed to, he got rid of Patty, so it's sort of like, if they show Patty again, it's gonna go back on that promise. I think that's the only reason we might not see Patty again, because it does.
Or it's like, you know, oh, Kelvin, of course I'm always here. You can get rid of me, but you can't get rid of me.
Accent.
You mean, like, exactly what she sounds like?
Yeah, her accent.
Best impression I do.
Because that's a very realistic impression. I mean, if you close your eyes, it's like Patty's in the room with you. Which is scary.
It is
I'm
scary.
just gonna point out, she might be hiding the keys.
I saw those girls depart.
They departed right in front of my eyes, Kevin.
I've always departed on the kindness of strangers. Sorry, bad pun. Really bad pun.
Oh my god.
That's great.
Wow. Oh man. I couldn't believe when she lied about that. Watching that again, like, blew my mind. Because it's the kind of thing, I mean, Lost has a lot of stuff like that. It's the kind of thing where, like, when you go back, you realize what they're doing. And at the time, it's wrapped in a mystery, so you don't know for sure. And, like, by the time you find out, it's you know, because, like, the reveal that she was lying is after Kevin's already vanquished her.
Right.
You know, so it's too late to even have a confrontation. Like, you lied about the departure. What the fuck? What was that bullshit?
Yeah, I think at the time I knew that she was lying about that.
Of course you did, but, you know, some of us did. And some of us want, you know.
No way she's around when Kevin is unconscious and she's just hanging out looking at shit and tweeting or something, you know.
Tweeting?
What's she gonna do with her time when Kevin's sleeping? I mean, if she can be awake when he's asleep, that begs the question how she's filling her time.
She's got a Twitter? Nice.
Yeah, at Ghost Patty. All her
Wow.
tweets are just the word silence.
Yeah.
It's a scratcher, but you'll get it eventually.
Wow.
All right, next scene, next
Okay.
part.
So we go back to the stakeout. Lori and Nora are fighting over Lori's lighter. Everybody remembers the lighter
Yes,
from season
everybody
1,
remembers
right?
the lighter.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
forget me. It was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
That's what the lighter said.
Aw.
Exact. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh man, yeah. What did the lighter say before it was dropped down the grate?
Don't forget me.
And she didn't.
That's what the lighter said.
Yeah, that's that scene where she throws the lighter in the grate. That's a difficult one to watch because you can tell she doesn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, she comes right back for it, right? Like later that night or
She
something.
goes back.
Yeah, later, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Lori's arc in season 1 is like slowly becoming dissatisfied with the guilty remnant way of life.
Question. The scene where Lori goes back for the lighter, do we see that she actually gets it?
I don't think
forget.
so.
Yeah, was
Because
this
I
a
remember
reveal?
thinking like she
What?
couldn't get it, like she couldn't
Yeah,
get
was-
to it.
Was this a reveal that she actually did get it?
I think it is.
Wow.
It was for me because I had the same question watching it. Like, did we see her?
I don't
actually-
think we
'cause
did.
I
I mean,
remember it being like right out
I
of
feel
her
like
reach.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Like the thing was like she tried to get it back, which
And
made
it
which made the
Yep.
character point. But
Yeah.
I thought she didn't actually have the lighter. I don't think we knew she had the lighter until now. I could be wrong.
It's so weird for them to get these like they kind of have their cake and eat it too. Where like in that scene, you know, she throws the lighter away, you know, her daughter's
Mhm.
gift and all this stuff. It's sentimental and don't forget me and all that, you know, and she throws it away, but then she comes back for it. So it's like, ooh, here's a character reveal, right? We thought one thing, now it's another thing. But then she tries to reach it and she can't get it, and you go, oh, okay, well, look at that. Wow, the writers are telling us, wow, you know, it's too far, it's just a little out of your reach, blah blah blah. So you get like that, you know, part of the cake, but then when they show she has the lighter, you get this other part of the cake, you know, that's
Right.
the complete opposite of the first part of the cake.
Right.
And so it's weird they get to like, you know, change a little bit of information about the scene, and they get a double, you know, double dipping, you know.
Yeah, they're triple dipping.
Yeah.
Also, Kevin's reaction of like, that's nothing. I killed her hamster. No, you didn't. You forgot to feed it. What she did was way worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like that gift, Jill.
Don't tell the hamster that.
No, I it's nothing against hamsters. I love hamsters, sort of. They're
Feed me, Kevin. Feed me.
Why does it say Kevin like it's a member of the guilty remnant? No, but I just like that is so cold when she gets that gift.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
It really is. Jill is working through some stuff,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like, of course, it's irresponsible. I apologize, please, PETA. Don't complain to the.
I know.
Mr.
It's like an inanimate object is somehow more valuable than letting this
All hamster lives
poor
matter.
hamster
I'm
starve to
just
death.
saying that it wasn't like he intentionally killed the hamster,
Right.
whereas
Mhm.
she intentionally threw away.
Yeah, I guess if he murdered the hamster,
Yeah,
it would be worse.
sure.
Well, there's a bit of symmetry. They both were neglectful, so there's some symmetry there.
Hamsters and lighters are both small enough to fit in your pocket. That's a,
Well, I
that's
mean, they
a
both
similarity.
like neglected something Jill cared about. I think that's the connection, but yeah, which is worse? They're worse in different ways, you know. Yeah, I think her thing is morally worse. In terms of what Jill would care about, I think Jill would be way more upset that her mother threw it away than
Yeah.
dad forgot to feed the hamster.
She had a lot invested specifically in giving her that particular lighter. I mean, it was wrapped up in that whole thing that she joined the Guilty Remnant. I mean, the whole idea, like, don't forget, there is no family in the Guilty Remnant, and trying to like hold on to that connection. I mean, I agree that it's just that hamster.
I know. R.I.P. Mr. Funny.
Mr. Fuzzy? No, Mr. Funny.
No. Nice try, Kevin. Nice try.
Nice
Why was the
try,
hamster called Mr. Funny?
Oh no.
Oh no, I'm afraid.
I don't know. It's a rhetorical question.
No, okay. Never mind.
Okay.
Anticlimax.
Wow. I was sure there was like a really intense hamster pun coming.
Give me a second.
Because he liked to hamster it up? No.
It was very hammy. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like there's something in there.
We'll come back to it. We'll circle back.
All right. So Nora uses it, and then she's like, "You don't need it because you quit smoking." And then they fight over it.
I love how that's the second time that happened. Like, but because you don't smoke, you don't need to own a lighter.
That happened another time?
No. I'm sorry. I jumped us forward because I forgot which lighter scene we were on. This is the lighter scene with Nora.
Yeah, but doesn't it happen twice where somebody's like, you don't
Oh,
need
she says it later.
because...
She says it later. Which,
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, later she says, I don't need it because I don't... Yeah.
Because I quit. Yeah.
But in the Nora scene, Nora's basically saying, hey, if you don't smoke, you don't have any need for a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she's intending to deliver it to Kevin. I guess that's the... I don't know. I mean, like, why...
I think in the moment she decided she didn't need it because she realized she was going to kill herself. I don't think she decided to kill herself until after she talked to Kevin.
That was the moment? Okay.
Yeah.
When she realizes, like, he's going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And that, like, all these people seem to be making conscious choices, and
Right.
I checked in with everybody. They all seem to know what they're doing, and I'm going to walk away from this. And that's an interesting thing too, that she didn't want to be around for the aftermath or the intramath during it, whatever that would be.
Is that just the math?
The math? Is that the math? I guess. Or is the math before the aftermath?
Oh, jeez.
Or is there a pre-math we should worry about?
There might be.
Yeah.
There might be some pre-math.
And anti-math?
Yeah.
ATE?
There you go. Bring it back to Latin.
Yep. Oh, we're the worst.
Did you say best? I heard best.
That's what I said. Yeah, it's opposite day.
Yeah, Nora is so trolling her with this lighter.
Trolling.
She's like, you don't need it. You don't smoke.
Yeah, see, she's got a weird energy this whole time. I don't know why she's so hopped up, but yeah, I felt like that came off with that too. Like, I'm not gonna give this back to you. You don't need it. Shut up, Lori.
This is after the baby line, right? Where she said the thing about the IUD, and she's like, "Oh, I thought you would have stopped trying after you gave Lily back to her mother."
Mm-hmm.
Because then she's like, "Oh, you want me to give you your lighter back? Yeah. Like you gave your baby back? Like I gave my baby back? Like you fucking bitch."
Yeah.
Acting like that wasn't a really difficult choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is what happened. It seems like when she hits her, she sort of snaps out of it.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing to be like, because you gave Lily back, that means you didn't want any more kids. It's like, huh? I would think the opposite. I would think if you were in a custody battle and you had to give a baby back, that you might consider having your own at that point.
Yeah, that's not how I interpreted that. I interpreted it as like after the trauma that ensued after you had to give the baby back and having this like just sort of what that would mean for you, having experienced raising children to the age of like 7 or whatever, and then having them depart, and then getting it, being on the verge, because she was on the verge of running away from her life when she found Lily, and then having that child be taken away too, like, entering a period of your life where you're just unwilling to take on the risk of extending your family anymore. Like a lot of women, once they've had like a certain...
It's a lot to unpack from that sentence, but I definitely see it in there.
Well, it's like, if you think about it from the point of view of like a miscarriage, if somebody has a miscarriage, there's different ways to react to that, but like one very common reaction is like, I'm not gonna open myself up to that experience again.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it's worded, if she was like, oh, I thought you'd be done after, everything that happened with Lily or something, but...
Well, she says it in a really flip way, which is part of why I think...
Yeah, she kind of...
Yeah.
She makes it seem like, well, you decided to give it back to her, and that means you didn't want to be a mother anymore.
Right. She's really dismissive about it. Which is, I'm sure why Nora's like catty back about the letter.
Yeah, I did love the when Laura's like, smoking is this incredibly self-destructive habit. Laura's like, that's what makes it so cool, and I'm like, that's what makes cigarettes cool. Wow, this entire time, 100 years or more of smoking, we we knew it made people look cool, but why? I was like, oh, that's why, because it's self-destructive. So you're cool if you don't care about your own health and your own life. That must mean you're so cool, man. Like you're too cool to care. It's great.
But yeah, that's so judgy to tell somebody who's, I see that you're smoking, but no, I quit because it's incredibly self-destructive. Like, aren't I so much better than you?
Why don't people like Lori more? I don't get it. She's only constantly judging them. And I don't understand why she stopped smoking when she got with John. Is that just I didn't really catch how that connected. Anybody have an idea of why those two things went together? Like,
no, and I thought she had quit before that, although I guess I don't remember.
She started again. In season 2, they show her like chewing constant. Nicorette products placement. Insert here.
Right.
Yeah. But no, she started smoking again. I mean, I think it's Nora's reaction of like, oh, so you quit smoking for John. That's like the totally logical thing. But she's like, oh no, I quit smoking for myself because it's incredibly self-destructive. It's like, well, that's not really an answer because you already knew that it was self-destructive earlier.
It seems like they're trying to say, John felt better once he was with Lori and he stopped hiding things, as Michael said, or whatever. Like, whatever his repression issues were when he was with Erica, he didn't have them with Lori, except for that one thing about his daughter being alive. So it seems like they're trying to say, relate or connect the non-smoking to her state of mind. Like, she didn't need that now or then, but I don't really get it.
Okay, yeah,
besides
sure.
that, yeah. Why didn't she just tell her the lighter has sentimental value?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I feel like she's not that far gone that she wouldn't understand.
Maybe she didn't feel like she had to explain that much.
I mean, she shouldn't have to explain it. It's hers.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm not saying she should have to. It's just
getting it back. It's kind of like, hey, that means that lighter. It's not that I don't smoke anymore, but it was a gift. That's all she has to say.
It probably would have come to that if it hadn't come to what
blows.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you guys think when they said, Lori got the black eye from Nora, did you think it would be anything other than what we saw, like kind of an accident? Or did you think they had a fight, like a real fight?
I thought it was possible that Nora punched her.
I thought it was possible that Nora hit her.
I didn't think it was going to be like, like a serious fight in terms of like, they get in stances and,
Someone shouts Mortal Kombat? Is that what
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I thought that there might have been some kind of confrontation where there was a physical altercation.
I can imagine Lori saying, it was some tense moments. I could imagine Lori saying something and Nora.
Well, you guys were wrong.
Well, yeah, obviously.
It's true.
So own up to your wrongness, all right?
When you're right, you're right.
Obviously.
And we were wrong.
And like I said, she did like kind of snap out of it when she realized she hit her,
Yeah.
She seemed like a lot less like hostile towards Lori after that point.
Interesting. She was more like an other.
Oh boy.
She had an other personality.
Oh god.
She's saying.
Oh god.
She turned other a new leaf.
Oh, that's so sweaty.
Those are the best ones.
It's true. The sweatier the better.
The sweatier the better.
What was it? Police catastrophe? What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, police catastrophe.
Police catastrophe.
Yeah.
Catastrophe, cop-tastrophe, and
Police catastrophe. Yeah.
That's the conjugation.
Yeah. That's very
I
logical.
police catastrophe, you police catastrophe, he, she, it police catastrophes.
Mm-hmm.
We police catastrophes, they police
Don't
catastrophes.
forget the formal.
Vosotros police catastrophes.
That's it exactly.
Are we still podcasting?
Yeah, this is a normal podcast.
Yeah, this is what the people want.
I don't know these people.
I couldn't believe the formal showed up. That was crazy.
They're all people we pay.
Oh, gotcha.
They're paid
Ouch.
listeners.
Reverse sponsors.
All right, you ready for the next scene?
Yeah.
I didn't quite finish with this one.
Oh my
so,
god! Every time. That's
well, I
like
never
every
get
time.
finished, and then it's a thing, and then Anyway, right. So they see the doctors, the so-called physicists, leave their home, and
So-called.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that because of the,
Okay.
they certainly seem to be physicists. They're certainly doing things that, could theoretically involve physics,
Aren't we all doing things that involve physics?
Yeah.
God damn it, don't...
Okay, come on.
Sure, of course. The mere fact of motion and, involves physics. Okay, fine. But you know what I mean. Fancy physics. I'm not talking about like, Newton. I'm talking about like...
He's talking about a physics with the tuxedo on. Come on.
Exactly.
Fancy physics.
No. He's talking about a physics so fancy that it shows up at overalls.
Oh, there you go. There's a callback to something that I
Wow.
don't think was this podcast.
Was that not on the... Okay. Well, we'll just let the mystery be.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Gotta keep that shit straight. It's hard. Okay, so right. No, they're the true undoubted physicists leave, and so they tail them. And during the pursuit, Michael phones Lori to say where Kevin is. So Michael is like, I'm just gonna mention it here. Michael is kind of a sub Judas here. He does kind of betray them to Lori.
Yeah, what's the name of the biblical character who tips Judas off? I think he sends him a text.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was?
I think it was Michael. I think it was also
Michael.
named Michael.
Michael the texting
Michael the tipper offer.
apostle. Yeah.
He only got 1 silver.
Michael the Unbeliever, yeah.
1 piece of silver.
1 piece of silver.
Yeah, was it worth it, Michael? Was it worth it?
All
No, I'm
you
just
did was
saying,
send a text.
if Laurie's Judas, then Michael is at least like a Judas a better, you know? Did someone help Judas and like they never figured it out, you know? Like, there's some unanswered questions there.
Well, there's also a big gap in this analogy, which is that, well, never mind. This isn't theology. Let's keep going.
No, let's go on the theology tangent.
If you want, I can try to do it in Aramaic.
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, yeah. The ancient the language, the better.
So let's see. Nora hears Kevin's with his dad and says tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow's, the day of the departure, which I guess is actually the 15th in Australia. And so she says they should all be with family.
Mm-hmm.
So then they arrive at their destination, and there's a machine there. So there's something. There's a thing. There's a thing down there with like some stuff that looks like science.
Look, there's some trucks and there's some boxes.
Science.
Yeah, like giant black
science.
foam boxes.
I mean, it doesn't look totally dissimilar from the room they put Desmond in when they zapped him with electromagnetism. Whitmore did that in, season 6.
What show was that?
That was on the well-known ABC acclaimed mystery drama adventure called Lost.
Oh, never saw it.
Yeah, well, you should check it out because, I think you would maybe.
Like it's my thing.
It's just they just never explained the polar bear.
I know, right? Why didn't they do that?
So why did I watch the show? They're dead the whole time. I guessed it from the pilot.
Oh my god. Now I want to go scuba diving.
That's like you're gonna find the island under there.
Oh.
I was gonna say that's like Agatha Christie's what's the one on the train, Murder on the Orient Express,
Yep.
like someone stands up in the beginning and it's like, we all are the murderers.
Spoiler alert.
He looks around, he's like, I'm getting off at the next stop. I solved this mystery.
Wow, you should bleep that. You probably have some listeners.
This is why I'm a great detective. I just gotta see how good I am. This is why I'm legendary. I just hopped on this train and I figured out the whole mystery.
Worst detective ever. He's the best.
But exactly.
Anything, he just guesses the right answer.
Yeah.
That's actually a hilarious, sketch to write. All right. Where are we? What are we doing?
Right.
Are we talking about the scene? Can we talk about this scene?
We're talking about the machine. They arrive at the machine. It's a machine, maybe.
Is it? Yeah.
Or
maybe.
there's some stuff.
Boxes.
There's
and
some
they
boxes.
All are like, oh my god, it looks so official. And it's like, really? It looks like some trucks unloading some boxes.
It's a thing.
It looks like an Australian rock band is touring. It just looks like some roadies are loading up some stuff.
Boxes.
Who could it be? Look, AC/DC? Silverchair?
It's Men at Work.
Men at Work.
Why not?
Yeah.
Big Country? They're from Australia, right?
Oh yeah, they are from Australia. You're right. Who else is there?
It's all of them.
The Bee Gees, do they count?
Really, they don't count.
Yeah, sorry.
Ugh.
They're only cultural icons. I mean, I mean, they only defined a decade.
Which decade was that?
That would be.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
I'll let the mystery be.
Are we still trying to think of Australian bands?
No, are
No.
we?
We're podcasting about this episode.
Should I?
So,
yeah. Should I finish
I thought
the
it was.
scene, or
Did you finish or not?
Oh my god.
Well, I didn't finish, but we could take a pause here
No,
and come
finish
back.
the scene.
Okay. So I guess Nora makes her intentions clear, which I guess is to go use the machine. She tells Lori she can take the van. There's the beach ball story in here.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Matt decides to stay with Nora. Lori agrees not to tell everyone what Nora's doing by this loophole of like, you give me your cigarettes and then I'll be your patient, and no, you give me your cigarettes and then you'll be my patient, and then confidentiality or something.
It's pretty stupid in a variety of ways. Principally being, she could have just lied. Like, she didn't need to, it's just like this silly contrivance.
It's professional
I think
responsibility.
I think it's to make Nora feel safe, more than anything. Like, she's going off somewhere forever. And
also, she's going to share the cigarettes with Kevin.
Yeah, that's true.
That's another function that has.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
But, yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. It's like, it makes it seem like she means it more. That it's like, it's part of her code of ethics that, if we have this kind of relationship, I can't talk about.
Yeah. It just doesn't extend that far. It just doesn't seem necessary.
It's not necessary.
But Claude's point,
But yeah. So then, yeah. Until next week. LOL. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much the end of the scene.
Yeah, so let's talk about the beach ball.
Let's talk about the beach ball.
I love this story. To me, this is almost the whole show in a nutshell. This, you know what I mean? Like, this idea of like this wondrous, magical idea, and why can't we just hold on to this forever? Why did he have to be so mean and ruin everybody's fun? And I just loved when, like, Lori just walks over and she's like, because this ball has consequences. And like, we're not here to play with the ball. We're here for the people on the field to play the game. And the ball is going to interfere with the game and things will be much worse. And like, I thought that was like such, sort of compassionate, but just like rational answer to this seemingly like innocuous question. You're like, oh yeah, why can't they just have fun forever? Like, let's just live in this moment forever. We'll never leave the stadium. We'll always pass the ball around,
Yeah, and it'll stay fun forever too.
Beach balls are not that fun. I'm just gonna say it.
So far, you're right. It'll stay fun forever. Like little did you know, like, it was about to not be fun anymore anyway.
Yeah, like 2 more hits and she would have been sick of it.
Yeah. But I thought that was such an interesting story that I kind of assume some writer actually had that happen to them and used that for this.
Yeah.
It felt like something somebody really witnessed. But I just love that it really kind of exemplified this kind of naivete Nora has, that she doesn't always show right off the bat, because her usual response is like to be angry and dismissive about these kinds of things. But yeah, I just like that idea of like this childhood event that really scarred her, coming, like digging that up and kind of discussing that, and Lori having this like, very, very rational reason. Because if he doesn't, that ball is going to go on the field and it would be fucking chaos. I enjoyed how she got explicit there. Yeah, I really enjoyed that whole thing, because it feels like it doesn't have an answer. Oh, the guy was just mean, but it's like, no, he's got this job, and I thought it also illustrated how that's kind of Lori's position with these people. Is to like be the barrier of reality for them and not let them go too far. and try to let them have their fun in this like contained way. But at a certain point, you got to call it, right? At a certain point, like you can't just keep, the ball's gonna go outside the, bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I also take it a little personally, I guess, because to a certain extent, in the war that I have with like, how much do I believe in the crazy stuff that happens in the show? There's an extent where it's like I want it to be true because it's more fun that way.
Yep. It's unlike our real world, then that's why we watch stories.
Yeah. And it's like, well, why can't I have that, Lori? Is there really such harm in having some fun fantasy shows where crazy shit happens?
Yeah, Lori,
do you have to take that from me, Lori?
I didn't take your fetus. Leave me out of it.
Exactly. It's not my fault. Just come on. Because I loved it in season 2 when she tries to beach ball Kevin, and he's like, okay, yeah, come back with me, you can help me out. And then he just like jumps out the window and drives away to go like drink poison and get buried alive.
Thought that was the better option, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I realized that that's a ridiculous decision, but it's
You're enabling him.
But that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, can't I have that?
No, you can't. It's not real, or is it?
I know, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's bothering me. It's like it feels like, it could go the way of like, yeah, I mean, you can have your fun for a while, but in the end you have to deal with reality, and that's the stand the show's gonna take.
Yep.
Which is like, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but yeah, it bothered me in that way.
A bitter pill, not unlike the pills Lori drugs.
Bringing it back.
Bring it back. All right, you ready for the next? Yeah, so I guess the only thing I want to say about this, Matt decides to stay with her. His line, I guess to be with family. You didn't actually care about Nora like a day ago, 2 days ago, when you forgot to even call her when you were going on Australia. Okay, Matt. You talked to God. Things are different now. Okay. But I find that just structurally interesting that they're going to go off on this part of the journey together. And yeah, I mean, do you guys think like Nora and Kevin just won't see each other until whatever happens with the machine?
I don't know.
Yes, I would say yes. Because whatever's going to happen with the machine, I think is going to happen pretty quick. Either I guess there's two options. Either the next episode focuses exclusively on Kevin going through this crazy thing, and then we don't see the outcome with Nora until the final episode. I think that's a possibility. The other possibility is we see, well, there's only 2 episodes, so I guess it's not exactly fucking rocket science. It's either in the next episode or the one after that. It's clearly going to happen. But I would say, just based on the fact that she's standing there, the thing that I don't understand is what's the pitch? I mean, is she gonna go down there and like try to hold them at gunpoint? Is she going to go down there and try to convince them? Is she going to go down there and try to operate it herself when they're away? Is she, you know what I mean? Like, what's the plan? Because they rejected her. So, like, how does she think she's going to be able to use it?
Well, I think if I was guessing from how the show likes to write itself, because that's how TV works, right? Shows write themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe she has figured out the answer to the question about the baby. And so maybe she storms down there and she's like, I got it. I know the answer now. And then she'll see what the answer is, and then they'll be like, okay, load her up.
Yeah, that's possible. So basically she's going to try to convince them.
she's gonna try to convince him. I don't think she's gonna try to use the machine unless it's one of those weird things where it's just all set up and
You
like
just press one
there's
button.
one button that
Yeah.
says "Go to depart" or something, and then like destination question mark, and the guy who's running it, is takes a smoke break or something, and like is away from the machine or that's kind of hokey. I don't think it'll be like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think we gotta find out what the answer to the question was supposed to be. So I think that that kills the two birds with one stone, as some people say. So that makes it sound really plausible to me. There would be something along those lines.
Or it's like, hey, if you had the wherewithal to track us down, then that means you can go too, or something.
Yeah, they could do that. But yeah.
do you think the machine is going to sort of be within one of those trucks, like it can be housed in the truck, or do you think they're going to build something out on that little beachy area that'll be sort of outside, external?
Yeah. I assumed they were gonna build a thing outside. Like they have those two like things set up, and I thought those were gonna be like barriers, and then the machine would be like in the middle. Just like the Lost thing. I mean, I'm just assuming it's gonna be exactly like the Lost thing.
Set up a sonic fence.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, it uses sound waves.
What if this machine is just a metaphor?
Oh, jeez. Yikes. What if they told her that as they're setting up a machine?
I think she would cut a bitch if they told her that.
Yeah, she would. She's on the edge.
Like, you really think it's so hard to make videos of people using fake names and holding the newspaper?
I hate that line. That makes no sense to me. Like, that proves nothing.
Sense. It proves absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's a weird one. I'm surprised she finds that so convincing.
She's like, I googled these people. They're
and
gone.
You know what it goes back to though is the like colonial lady in the beginning of the season, where she and her family are believing in the rapture and they go on the roof, and there's this idea that beliefs have credence depending on how many people believe them. So I think there's something there with Nora, like the fact that other people, whether it worked or not, did believe in it is sort of convincing to her. But I think to rational people with no vested interest in whether it works or not, I think we can go, yeah, that doesn't prove anything. Yeah. And the fact that none of them came back, it'd be different if she was like, yeah, you know what? I looked up all these people. They were all real people. And some of them I found in the real world. And guess what? They claim to have gone to the departed world. But of course you can't have that. Because then that's proof that it worked.
Right.
Yeah,
all right. You ready for the next scene? Anything else in this one?
I think that's good. Okay, so we go back to the Grace compound. She's making some dinner, and this is when she mentions the thing about the shoes, the fact that they never found the shoes, and that's what she really wants is, where were those shoes? So that's her plan for Kevin.
She wanted to find their missing souls, but not the souls you're thinking about. You're welcome. I've been trying to get that in. I've been trying to like think of souls and something else, some other shoe pun. I was like, there's got to be a joke there somewhere.
You're a national.
You found it.
I just feel like that's the joke, like from the writers, like those are the souls she cares about,
Oh God, it's true.
Just, their kids' souls were put to rest, but not these souls. These souls are still.
These souls are wandering in the wilderness still, and I have to find them so they can be at peace.
Oh my God, I cannot handle this joke right now.
Oh my God. Okay, so then we move on to the Last Supper, so-called Last Supper, and Kevin Sr. assigns them roles. I guess he suggests maybe Laurie's Mary Magdalene, but no, that's clearly Nora. He says she's doubting Thomas, which we talked about before. He mentions that in Mapleton, she was the only person that said his voices were really there. And the next thing he knew, he was institutionalized. So I guess that's something we didn't know before.
Yeah.
That somehow she played a role in his getting institutionalized.
Which is weird because isn't her MO to not say that to people? Like, wouldn't she have not indulged his delusion?
No, she does. No, she says you do indulge a delusion. Right? If they're in the middle of a break, you have to find common ground.
Yeah, but saying that they're real is different than telling the people that they're crazy, right?
That's true.
But
It's just a fine line.
don't they also tell us in the first season that he ended up institutionalized because he tried to burn the library down?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's the idea. Maybe the voices told him to do that, and she's the one who said the voices were there, so he listened to the voices. Actually, that's confusing because he said he stopped listening to the voices, and then once he started listening to the voices, that's when he went to Australia, right?
Well, maybe he stopped listening to them after he was institutionalized, and then he started again after he got out.
Okay. Yeah, it's just really it's weird for me to hear to Laurie. He's like, Laurie, I'm hearing voices, and she's like, those are real voices.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's scary. Unless she knew that was gonna get him locked up, and that was her point. Like, okay, I'll indulge this because this will get him, committed.
Right.
And he can get the help he needs or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's sort of a cast-off line that I think, in terms of assessing her practice as a therapist, we probably need to go back to the original tapes. Like, what did she actually say to him?
Yeah, and actually, it is similar when Kevin saw Evie. She did say, well, that's her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
Okay.
It seems along those lines. It seems like the goal is to, like, go in another direction eventually. But, she sort of did that with Patty, too. Like, she didn't go full on, Patty doesn't exist immediately.
Yeah, that's true.
But I see your point. Right. So then she says, "No, actually, I'm Judas."
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. You ready? So when she said this, I remember originally thinking, "Oh God, the cops are going to show up." Like I thought it was the reveal was going to be, oh, she called the cops. They're going to find the body and they're going to haul them all away. And that's, and that will prevent them from, going through with this crazy thing. And it's going to be just like, Kevin Sr. getting institutionalized.
Yeah.
And it would be more like what Judas did. Because Judas didn't poison everyone or, drug everyone so he could talk to Jesus alone. Not to get too biblical. But yeah, it's a weird comparison. Anyway, I guess her frame of reference there is that he believed that everyone was wrong about Jesus and acted on it. Michael notes that he killed himself afterwards, and I guess she didn't know about that part of the story.
Oh God, I love that. Oh, I loved it so much. She's like, listen, I didn't know about that part of the story. It doesn't help the point I was making. So we're gonna pretend it doesn't matter.
Even though it definitely ties in with where her story's going.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So then Kevin Sr. face plants into his dinner. Michael and John like pass out, and she says she's sorry to John, and she tells the dog that she used his medication.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the end of that bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed this scene. Laurie's whole transformation as Judas, and I love that whole thing. Doubting is easy; it costs you nothing. Like it's like she's like this like maniacal villain who like unveils herself. Has already sort of thought these things through, and yeah, the whole. Yeah, the whole Judas thing I thought was interesting, and yeah, I love that the end of that with like I wasn't aware of that part of the story, Michael. I don't know why he killed himself. Like, you're ruining my story here, dude.
Yeah. I don't want that detail.
Yeah, that doesn't help what my point is.
Yeah.
Like, leave that out of it.
Yeah. God damn it! Why am I sitting with people who know the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying.
Doesn't she say, "Did he leave a note"?
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. What does the Bible? Did he leave a note? Like, it's great. She just like it's a really weird moment because she's making this big point about being Judas or whatever, but then she like takes him so seriously about let's investigate. Let's start at the beginning. Did he leave a note? What is like? It's the kind of thing that like she should know, sort of, because it's a famous story, but also she doesn't know the details. So
right.
It was a very funny little juxtaposition here of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of figured they were getting drugged because Michael seemed weird almost from the beginning of the scene.
Yeah.
Kind of caught that he was being weird,
kind of like half like.
Yeah, once she said I'm Judas, I was like, oh, okay, you're drugging these people. Okay.
Yeah. And they had shown the pills, and like Kevin Sr. mentioned like how the pills knocked him out, and the setup is all there.
It's all set up nice and neat. Cool. Anything else in this scene?
I mean, I did enjoy the scene. It's an amusing Last Supper. I also thought like she was gonna be Judas because like they had to dunk Kevin before before the day of the Great Departure. But turns out that's not true. I guess they can do it day of, and it's good enough. I don't know. It seems like that's what they're gonna have to do.
The day, yeah. When is the flood supposed to come?
Yeah, like late in the day. I don't. I mean, it's sort of like
high tide.
Yeah, there you go. Why not?
Yeah.
It's just I guess I thought part of maybe the real Judas thing would be like, I'm not gonna let you follow through on your plan. Like you're gonna have to be proven wrong. Like you're gonna have to see that there's no flood without doing anything.
Yeah. So why did Judas hang himself?
Oh, I don't think it says, but the presumption is that guilt.
But he took his 30 pieces of silver?
He took the silver, yeah.
But what's he going to do with it if he's dead?
Well, he's not going to do anything with it.
Or does taking it make him guilty? Is that like...
I think that's the idea, yeah.
I'm guilty now that I'm rich.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of a reminder. I mean, the Bible is not good on... No offense. The Bible is not good on, like, psychology or internal... like motivations.
Like, what was that thing we were talking about before when Job, when he's like, but God, why did you do all this? God's like, don't ask me questions. What was it? This is a completely anticlimactic response.
That's pretty much it.
But I mean that's classic. That's Job. That's the book of Job.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's why it's the book of Job.
Yeah, so it's sort of like Judas is Judas. He betrayed Jesus because he's Judas, and he killed himself because he's Judas. Like, there's not a clear. I mean, I think the reader is supposed to assume that, but again, it's interpretation. I mean, the stories are so sketchy. I always assume the reader is supposed to assume that that on some level he wasn't so sure of himself. I mean, that's part of the point Michael was making. And he felt guilty about betraying a friend at the very least.
Okay.
But it's not stated. It's not stated.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things that happen in the Bible, you can ask why people did things, and it's not really known. I mean, presumably there was a real character like that, and maybe he didn't really kill himself. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that was something they added later.
Well, it helps the story. I mean, Jesus has to die on the cross, right?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the weird thing about the role. It's like he's the bad guy, but at the same time,
he helps facilitate the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he has to do. That has to happen for the story to be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's a weird one.
All right.
Okay, so next thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin finally horses up, and he's on a horse, so that's what you do on a horse. Yep. Let's see. Lori admits that she drugged everyone to talk to Kevin before they had a chance to step in and start on their craziness or try to stop her from being Lori. She helped Nora find what she was looking for. I guess Kevin knows what that was. Although I'm not 100% sure. He asked if she's going to try to talk him out of dying again, and she says no, she just wanted to say goodbye. So, then they exchange these stories, the hamster thing. And finally, here we get our answer about the departed fetus. We talked about that before, how that episode ends with, she's staring at the thing, but it doesn't do the thing that usually happens in scenes like that, where we cut to it and we see what she's seeing.
Yeah.
We never see what she's seeing, and the thing ends, and you're left wondering, did the thing that should have happened happen, or is it just some other thing? Is it just some other explanation, and we're jumping to conclusions or something? But no, finally in this scene we find out that indeed, the fetus departed.
Yeah, right in front of her face.
Yeah, right in front of her face, which is, I mean, that's crazy. She asks if Kevin's scared, and he kind of defends the hotel. He says, I've never felt so alive.
That's when you know you're deluded.
I know, right? It's it reminds me of, what was the thing that was like that? Was that on Lost? It was probably on Lost. What was the time when the character was I've never been more sure of anything?
Yeah, what was that? I feel like it was Ben or somebody, or Locke. It wasn't the pilot. It wasn't having a surgeon on the plane, was it? When Ben's
oh yeah. Well, that's how he knew God existed. But no, there was something where it's the character was I feel bad that I can't remember it. It's because I remember the idea of the thing, but it was I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Oh, that sounds like Locke.
It was probably Locke. And he ended up being wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely seems like a sign. Like, I may have been dead, but I've never felt so alive. And it's like, yeah,
Mm.
well, maybe you were alive then.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
It's a weird thing.
And it's
So
good that they're that they're everyone's all on the same page about strapping him to the seesaw. Like, why is that the way to do it? It's
yeah,
not
I don't get
any
it.
of the other times.
It
I don't
makes no sense
understand
to
why
me.
that's. Is it just because the seesaw's there they have to use it? Like, what? Why? What's with the deal? Like, it's weird to me that that's someone just made this be the way to do it. I'm so confused.
It
Like,
seems like Grace did it by doing. I don't even know why she wanted to drown. I mean, Kevin never even drowned up to this point. I mean, that's not even a thing that happened. The leg disappeared. You
yeah,
know?
I think she wanted to kill him in a way that would be reversible. Like, so they didn't want to like shoot him in the head
Right.
or I guess something quicker than a body wound. I don't know. Yeah. Or they just wanted to set up this seesaw thing.
I think
It,
they wanted to set up.
that's what it seems like. But it's. I mean, there was the poison thing. They could do that again. But it seems like they want to do a new thing, and it's this seesaw thing. So
Yeah.
we're going on the seesaw.
Okay.
There's just no way around it, apparently. Let's see. Right, so she's not gonna stay. She tells him he can keep Jill's lighter with the "Don't forget me" thing, because she doesn't smoke anymore. Gotta.
Which is weird because you just talked about that lighter being important.
I know.
And-
So that's what I was gonna say. I don't really understand. Okay, sorry. Real quick finish. Is Nora gone? We're all gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the end of the scene. She doesn't even try to talk him out of it. I mean, she went to all this trouble to talk to him while they weren't around, and she didn't even try to talk him out of it. So, did she change her mind? I'm just surprised she didn't, try to do it. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, it is what didn't she say?
It's almost like she's already given up before,
Yeah, I mean, I think she has. I think it's part of why she's not sticking around. I think, she's.
But
she's
isn't the
decided
poisoning plan supposed to be her way of trying to stop this madness?
No,
Yeah, 'cause
I
what
think
did she say?
wants
She
to talk
said
to him.
she said I can't find. I'm looking at the transcript here. I thought she said something about, I wanted to talk to you without those people trying to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it seems like
but she doesn't say, "I'm trying to talk you out of this. I don't think you should do this." She just wanted to talk to him, and I think she needed closure. She needed to have a conversation, and then go along on her journey, just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like I mean, the one part of it that makes sense to me is like if she's already planning on going to kill herself, then I kind of understand why like it would have been awkward to try to do this if everybody was awake.
Yeah, that's the line. I didn't think they would let that happen. The two of us talking. So yeah, and it's right before he says you came here to talk me out of it. So it just, I guess, she thought if she told them, hey, I want to talk to Kevin alone, they would think, oh, she's gonna try to talk him out of it.
Right.
Let's not let them be alone together.
Right.
But I mean, who would she be to try to talk him out of it when she's about to go kill herself anyway? I mean, that speaks to where she is.
And I think that's why she's going to give up the leader, is because she's like, she has made up her mind that she's going to kill herself.
Yeah. And then it's like it becomes the don't forget me, from her to him.
Mm-hmm.
But the lighter thing does indicate a shift in what she's thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Because she's so insistent on getting it back from Nora. I mean, maybe it means more to Kevin than it does to Nora, and I guess that's valid, but she could have decided to take it with her, have it on her for sentimental reasons.
I think she doesn't decide to kill herself until perhaps after she leaves Nora.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like it's a sign of some shift, just like the Nora decides the machine works, just like Matt decides that the Kevin thing doesn't. Like, all these things are like clear shifts, but there's not a clear. I mean, at least I didn't see the clear moment when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
When did she decide to do that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think she decides probably in this scene with Kevin.
Just right here.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. That if he would have said, I am scared, talk me out of it or whatever, right, she might have, and I think it's like Jen said, she doesn't really have any purpose, right? Like, she can't really help any of these people. And let alone the fact that she's probably thinking that they have the right to their own lives and making bad choices if that's what they want to make, sort of clear-headedly as much as they are. So I think it may be in this scene where, when she sees Kevin is, gone off the deep end and she's like, all right, we're all gone. Like, I'll join you guys, in this craziness. But, her version is to like want to, directly kill herself, while these other people are sort of maybe in her mind indirectly killing themselves. Like, Kevin's gonna die by drowning, Nora's gonna die with his death ray machine,
right?
But it's the choices that they're making,
right?
But yeah, it's interesting. Yikes. So we have the one big last scene, right?
Yeah, so the last scene we pick up the next day. This is, by the way, the day of the sudden departure. She goes out on a scuba diving expedition. And she's about to go out there. I guess the guy there, like the captain, I don't know, does it count as a captain when it's a boat that small? Anyway, the guy's driving the boat. He's like, you gotta hurry, you gotta go now or never, or whatever. I guess because the storm's coming.
Is this supposed to be our flood, or is this just inclement weather?
Well, I mean, I think they wanna walk that ambiguous line clearly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like the thing that could be the flood, but at the very least, there's some kind of weather thing happening that means like they can't just stay out there for very much longer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she gets a call. She gets a call from Jill. And I guess Tom's there too. This is what we were talking about in a previous episode in terms of Jill's, like, what she needs on the show is like, was closure with Lori, which, I mean, I feel like it's clear from the scene she already had that off screen. Mm-hmm. But we get kind of an on-screen indication that they have, resolved the heavy conflict that they had in seasons 1 and 2. And so, so that whole thing is, I guess Tommy had some issues with her as well in season 2. Mm-hmm. In terms of the whole, like, Wayne plot, like fake Wayne plot. So yeah, the call sort of, I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is why she won't kill herself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It seems like the kind of thing
kids will drive you crazy, Kids will drive you crazy.
Yeah, they're having such a great time. It doesn't sound like anything too bad is happening in Jarden. I assume that's where they are.
Yeah.
Because I would assume at the very least, like, Tom should be working. Someone's got to be in charge.
Yeah.
It's not Kevin's not there.
Kevin gone.
So, and even if he's not in charge, he's at least like he should at least be working or at some point that day. So, and I guess it's later there. How does the time work? No, it's earlier there. I don't know. I'm confused about times.
Should be earlier in Australia.
Earlier in Australia.
That's the 14th in Australia, right? And the 15th in the States.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was
Okay.
the 15th in Australia and the 14th.
Oh yeah, because Australia gets it first, so they're
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Australia gets
'Cause
it.
The New Year always starts around like New Zealand, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, the international date line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, like it doesn't sound like there's any catastrophes going on over there.
So it's later there? Does that make sense? Or is it earlier?
I think it's got to be earlier. I mean, in a date sense. I mean, obviously, like it's technically the same moment in time.
So when it's the 14th in Australia, it's the 15th in the States.
The opposite.
Okay, I keep doing that. So it's the 15th. So
Yeah.
okay. So that means it's earlier. Okay.
Because like
Got it.
it's definitely the 14th, right? They made it clear that it was the 14th. That's the day of sudden departure for the US. Like they always said the 14th, and I always thought of it as the 14th. But this season,
That's why it's the 15th, because it's later there. That's why New Year's happens there first.
Yeah, they corrected it. So
Okay.
I guess although I think Jill mentions that it's a sudden departure, so I mean maybe it's like midnight on the sudden departure for them. And it's I don't know. I'm confused about the time. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's a sudden departure day. We can, So they have their little moment, and she gets off the phone and puts on her gear and just jumps right in for a little scuba diving suicide.
She'll be back up soon before that storm rolls in. I don't think she's dead. You think she's dead?
I think there's definitely a chance that she's dead. I think there's definitely a chance that she's not dead. I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's the end of the show.
Yeah.
She could be dead. I mean, if like let's say this is season 2, same episode.
Yeah.
Definitely not dead. But
Yes.
end of the show could be dead. Now she doesn't die on screen. Obviously.
Yeah, I think they might never tell us if she's alive or dead.
They could do that.
But I think what we saw in this episode was when faced with killing herself, she changes her mind at the last minute.
That did happen.
It could either be the point that, nope, this time she goes through with it, or it goes, well, no, she does change her mind. Because I figured by the time she gets underwater and she, is down, deep enough, she's going to be impacted by that conversation with the kids, Like, it might not have taken a hold over in that moment, but she's still got a couple more seconds, minutes to like, really think about what she's leaving behind. And I'm not even sure why she wants to kill herself with the kids still around. Like, why doesn't she want to be with the kids? If her adult friends and family are crazy,
right?
Why not just leave them behind and go be with the kids?
Yeah. That makes sense. But they're all gone.
They're all gone.
Even though they sound fine, but they're all gone.
Yeah, today's special. Was that a real show or whatever they were talking about?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it. If it's a real thing, I assume they made it up.
Looks like it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the night staff of a major department store explore topics for young viewers.
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
That sounds like a weird show that I probably would have watched in the 80s.
Yep, that's when it was on.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, interesting episode. I'm holding out hope for Lori that she's not dead. I think she needs to go. Oh crap! I think she needs to go experience the apocalypse. Everybody else, you know.
You think she'll live through it? I guess my question would be, if she comes back, is she gonna go storm the compound? Will she finally call the cops? You know, will that happen?
She'll go observe. She'll just go. I'm here to watch.
Oh God! Don't pull a Cindy. Is that Cindy?
Yeah, it was Cindy.
Okay, all right. Felt like the wrong name. We're here to watch. Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, I think she could be there for moral support and just watch, you know, see, or maybe she'll get back right after Kevin has been dunked and he's resurrected, and then, you know, so she'll maybe have missed the beginning part, but you know, she's there for the encore.
Right. Yeah. I could see that. I could also see that being it. I don't know. But I think you're right. There's definitely a chance. Right now, I'm leaning 60-40 that's it for her.
The only thing I don't really like about her exit is that, you know, the reason that it's an elegant death or way to kill yourself is because no one will know you made a mistake or say intentionally turn the knob the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I feel like if she goes scuba diving right after Nora tells her that story and dies, then Nora's gonna be like,
yeah, it's gonna look really. Although Nora supposedly is gonna go herself, so maybe that won't be a problem.
Well, that's true. She won't have anyone. Yeah, that's fair.
Although,
Oh, crazy crackpot theory I meant to mention earlier.
Yeah.
If Kevin, you know, I think it's pretty likely Kevin's gonna go to the hotel again, and then I think whatever happens there will be the surprise. You know, it'll not turn out the way we expect.
Of course not.
I'm wondering if Nora goes into the machine at the same time, or roughly the same time, if will show up in the hotel somehow.
Oh God!
Like if she flashes through,
that's gonna be like, fuck, I'm dead.
Or like, well, maybe it's like she's like passing through the place. You know,
passing through.
Like she's passing through, and maybe she's only there for a little bit, for a few seconds.
Some kind of like Cooper thing.
What do you mean?
Like when he floats through the box and then
Oh, spoiler alert! Yeah, yes.
Sorry. Spoiler alert! Yeah, sorry. Sorry, if you haven't heard the Twin Peaks for this week
which season you're talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be like that, where she, you know, it intersects with the hotel world.
That's interesting. I could see that. Yeah. Maybe Laurie will do that too.
Laurie's not dead.
Maybe Laurie will show up in the hotel. I mean.
Yeah, she's not dead though.
If she is. How sure are you? How
many rooms are in this hotel? We got 5 kids. We got Christopher Sunday. We've got who else?
They can fit. It's a big hotel.
Evie needs to show up. Now we have Laura showing up. I mean, come on, no hotel can fit 8 people. Hotel can fit 8 people. How sure am I that Laurie's dead?
Yeah, what would you put your numbers?
60 that she's still alive.
Okay. I'm just slightly leaning in the other direction, I guess.
Death. I don't know. I'm thinking about, does the show think this is a respectable death for her? You know, is this what they want to say about her, this character, that, you know, she just decided to kill herself?
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's a big thing to say.
You're right. Ah, okay. Yeah, now I'm feeling 45, 55. I'm not so sure. But it felt, the storytelling is pointing you in that direction, but obviously it could be, you know, a kind of a false conclusion.
You know where we're gonna see? We're gonna, you know, she's gonna come back, and you know, it'll be like, you know, did the knob just break off, or did you get extra oxygen? You know, it'd be like that Michael thing, you know. Did the bullet bounce off your head, or did the gun not go off? Like, maybe something will happen with her plan, and she won't be able to cause an air bubble or whatever, and you know, that'll be the thing. Like, she tried to kill herself, she wanted to kill herself, she was gonna really do it, but the machine didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I could see that happening. Definitely.
Cool. Well, pretty good episode. 2 more left.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what we're gonna see, except for I'm assuming the machine's gonna do something. We're gonna see a machine. Someone's gonna go in it. Possibly Nora.
Yeah.
You know that scene at the end of the first episode, when we see the flash forward Nora,
Mm-hmm.
and they do that like cross cutting with the bird flying
Yeah.
through the sky, and it's in our world and it flies and it's somewhere else. If they tell us that birds can fly through dimensions, I'm done with this show.
Well, it'll be
I
done with
know.
you by that time. So.
It will be done with me, so we can say whatever it's want.
I feel pretty confident that the show's not going to say birds can fly the dimensions.
We'll see.
Call me
Whatever.
crazy, but I'm pretty sure about that one. I actually have a couple of little tidbits that we didn't get to or didn't cover specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, this is a small thing. Just for the record, who stole the van?
Why was the van stolen? Who?
Well, it was
Who-
a screwdriver.
They were running it with a screwdriver, so
I see.
it seemed implied to me that someone stole the van.
I totally saw that and didn't even think about what that meant.
I'm gonna say it was Nora. Just say Nora.
Nora seems like the likely candidate given her
Yeah.
general state of mind, especially during that period of the episode.
Yeah.
That she would just like get a screwdriver and steal a van.
It's also like the Dharma van. It's
It
another
is.
Volkswagen,
You're right.
70s Volkswagen van.
Yeah. Okay, so the second thing is just like the super Lindelof-y thing that happens. We got our explanation of the boat. I think we briefly referenced it, but turns out that one of the kids that she had adopted was into boats and like
He just liked boats, okay?
He just like fucking boats, and
He just liked it.
He just liked it. And some family members came by, and what they did, and we talked about on the podcast, the church. It was like, Are they rebuilding the church? What happened to the church? No, they're taking the church apart and using the parts to make the boat.
But it also looks like they stopped. Like, right? Are we? Is that, or were those the people he's talking about that we saw before?
I'm assuming it's those people. Yeah.
Those are the people, and they're actively still building the boat.
I'm assuming it's still a work in progress.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't look finished. I mean, maybe, and if they want it to be stylized.
He does say you're building a boat, and she's like, "Yeah, all right." I just seemed like it was an old boat, and somebody stopped and didn't ever finish it. But yeah, I guess we're supposed to think they're still building it. But how many years has it been since the kids died? Like 7?
Yeah.
And they're just now building the boat?
It's a little late. I guess that's where Kevin Sr. can say it's not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. The timeline's a little weird there. But just the idea that, like, the explanation has nothing to do with it being an arc for a flood that's coming.
And
like
again, it's his confirmation bias. He's just singing things and go, "Oh, that's part of my plan too. Oh, that's probable. That's not part of my plan."
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, and like what it really meant was something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does seem like they messed up the timeline a little bit.
Well, and even the fact that like it clearly wasn't going to be done in time for the 15th.
Well, to be fair, it was 5. Well, okay, so they found the kids. I mean, the kids probably didn't die that day. I mean, I would assume they survived for at least a bit. Another day or whatever. But they didn't find the kids for a couple of years, right?
That's right. She said 2 years.
So I guess it's been like 5 years, which is still a lot, but it cuts off a little bit.
Yeah, it cuts off a bit
in terms of like they thought they were departed before that. I guess, which maybe means you don't make a monument if someone's departed because
The thing they didn't actually get into, even though we're hovering around it, is what perhaps the Aboriginal people think about the departure. Like,
Oh
how
yeah,
does their culture talk about what happened and deal with it, and what do they have to say about it? I mean,
right.
you've got this white man gentrifying their culture, for his
Yeah,
own gains, but didn't stop to
yeah,
ask them, like, hey, what do you
right,
guys think about the departure?
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean the only thing we got was that whole like it's actually a dance to bring the rain. So
So don't do it?
how about don't do it?
How about a don't do?
You'll have better luck that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty interesting question. I mean, I think that's a question that probably won't be answered because the show is so focused on these
Yeah.
characters, and really, that's a question that could be interesting for a lot of places in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How are they reacting to this thing? And of course they're right there, so it's a little more
Yeah,
relevant.
they
But
literally are talking to an elder who
yeah.
they could have asked, but
If Kevin finds Christopher Sunday, maybe
yeah,
there will be a discussion.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
It seems possible.
What if Christopher Sunday's at the hotel and he's like, "I'm not here."
What?
What if he's like, "No, this isn't. You're imagining this.
Oh
I'm not really
God!
at the hotel. Like this, because like I would assume this doesn't really comport with his beliefs about the afterlife. That
Right?
when you die, you go to Kevin's hotel.
You don't think so? You don't think that's part of the
Ancient culture has that in there. I don't know, I'm not an expert. But so it'd be interesting to if they had a sort of have your cake and eat it too, where like, he's like, yes, I am here at the hotel, but I'm not who you think I am or something. Like it'd be interesting if there was some weird thing like that to kind of keep us in the ambiguous state.
If it looks like him, I'm gonna wonder how he knows what he looks like. I don't think Kevin Senior had a photo of him. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I guess they could try to tell us that, but that's gonna be another point there.
How does he know anyway?
How does who know anyway what?
I feel like I don't even have to even answer that question. How does he know anyway? I was gonna say, yeah. How would he know it anyway? How does he know what Christopher Sunday looks like anyway? I mean, he's going there to potentially find him. So if he sees a guy, how is he supposed to know that's Christopher Sunday?
I guess he can just ask.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you Christopher Sunday?
How did he know what Patty's husband looked like?
I think he didn't. I think it took him some time to figure out that it was him.
Okay, then they could do the same thing with Christopher Sunday.
Yeah. That's what I'm guessing. Maybe he'll just go to the front desk.
He'll go to the concierge and say,
Yeah.
"Is there Christopher Sunday checked in here?"
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's the show we're watching. Well, he put the do not disturb in his door, sir, so we can't change his sheets or give him any towels until he takes those off. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well, what else is on your tidbit list?
He said he's having an air conditioning problem.
Oh man, I could totally see him like, God, Christopher Sunday's just like in his hotel room blasting the AC.
Yep.
And he's like, it's so cool.
No, that was the last tidbit. It was just those two little things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just want to make sure we covered the boat and the stolen van.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, there's a lot with this episode.
Yeah.
Certified. Which I
we
guess
just got certified.
Lori's not certified scuba diving yet. She went to go dive.
No, she is. She said she's certified.
Oh, she is certified, but was she lying?
Well,
I feel like she's never scuba dived before in her life.
maybe she was lying. I don't know. It sounded like she was sincere, but yeah, maybe she was lying.
Oh, she's not a good liar at all.
Nah, she doesn't lie too much, and not. very effectively. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I believed it, but I believe a lot of things. So.
So this thing when she says Lori Murphy, isn't Erica's last name Murphy? Isn't that their last name?
Yeah, because she married John.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting confused. Sorry, I'm looking at the transcript. I'm like, who is Lori Murphy? But that's Lori.
That's Lori. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused about this. What this transcript is saying. So Lori in this scene says, "I know, I'm certified."
Yeah.
But who says and Lori Murphy was certified? Maybe this transcript is wrong. I don't know. It's not making any sense to me.
I remember there was a line about Lori Murphy, but
Yeah, because this is saying she says, you can get a bubble in your blood that gives you a stroke. I know, I'm certified. And Lori Murphy was certified. She had logged hundreds of hours underwater, but accidents happen.
Oh, that's Nora. I think that's Nora saying the what they would say afterwards.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, I was confused about that.
Yeah. It's weird when you just read it out of context.
Yeah, I was like, huh? Who are they talking about? Who's Lori Murphy?
She's like switching to a different point of view, like afterwards, and yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's true, but what do I know?
Yeah, I mean it's a weird place to lie here. Yeah, it would be weird to lie it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Well, Jen, thanks for joining us on this podcast.
Thanks. I just, I don't know.
That's a good one.
I've stopped trying to guess what the show is going to do.
We will never stop doing that,
Well,
even after the show's
how
over.
How are you having any fun?
I mean, it just is not possible for me. I enjoy it. I can speculate, but I'm never right. They never do what I think that they
either.
do.
No. For the record, you called something that did happen this season, which was that the guy in the hotel, the guy at the bar, the karaoke bar, the guy on the bridge would be David Burton.
Yeah, but that was a small thing.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. It's a pretty good hypothesis for the only connection being, the hearsay we've heard about him.
Yeah. I think that was a solid prediction.
Well, at any rate, I don't know. We'll see. We've got 2 more episodes. I can't believe that it's almost over.
So, quick prediction since we're in prediction business now.
Oh shit!
Do you think Lori's dead? Do you think she died when she scuba dove? Whatever.
Yeah, I do. But I wouldn't be particularly surprised if she's not. We were talking about this.
Could you put percentages on it?
I mean, I could just give you some numbers. I could just say 2 numbers that add up.
I'm sitting at 57.43 right now.
57 dead?
Dead, yeah. And Claude's at 60-40 not dead.
Yeah. Wow, okay. 70-30 dead.
70-30 dead, okay.
Oh, wow.
Taking a stand.
Wow, somebody's almost sure.
Oh, I'm almost sure. Just because with only 2, if there were more episodes left, then
that's kind of what I was thinking. But on the other hand, I could see that they might not want to leave her there, and they might want to have her play some role in the final story.
Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible that we might see her in the hotel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Which would mean she's dead.
Right.
Most likely.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to see anyone in the hotel. I just don't. I wanted to make a left turn we're not expecting. And I want him to get nothing of what he wants out of the hotel. Because then it's too easy, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it too easy if you can just get what you want out of the hotel anytime?
I don't think it's going to be that easy, but I do think he's going to go to the hotel, and I do think he's going to see people there. I don't know what the twist is, but I bet it involves David Burton's twin.
I'm sticking with there's no twin brother.
Twin brother.
He's gonna talk with David Burton. He's not gonna find out.
Can't do anything. I'm dead now, mate.
Did
Dead for roll this time.
He's not gonna get what anybody sent him for, and he may decide to stay. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if he decided to stay, because you remember the karaoke
Kevin
scene.
deciding to stay in the hotel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh God, yeah, that they could do a crazy
Because
thing
in
like
the
that.
karaoke
Decided to stay.
I don't know why, but just in the karaoke scene, you know, where he's like, I want to go back, and they're like, oh, why don't you just say so? All you have to do is sing. You know, so it's like...
Ooh, you know what could be weird? What if, you know, I was saying earlier, what if, like, Nora somehow showed up in the hotel because she's using the machine? And what if, like, you know, she shows up and he kind of sees her, but she's, like, you know, gonna vanish because she's passing through. So, not checking in, just passing through. And what if he, like, follows her? And he follows her through the place where the machine takes you.
Oh God.
And I don't know what that means
God.
for his body in the real world.
Don't
but
do that.
I just thought that might be an interesting left turn if he, like...
That's not gonna happen.
All right.
No, I don't. You think that the machine... You think going through the machine...
I'm trying to figure out how can they get some unity here in these storylines, and like
Yeah.
how can they do something unexpected? And I think it'd be unexpected if they reveal that the machine does something, and one of the things it does is it carries the person, you know, from A to B, and they go through the hotel to get there somehow or something, and that'd be an interesting way for like Kevin and Nora to get like another scene together, you know. So it's really far out there, but you know,
I do feel like Kevin and Nora need another scene together.
Yeah.
I'm at like 99.9. They're gonna get another scene together. I don't see that not happening at all.
Well, I guess the question is when. Like,
well, exactly. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the hotel, but I think they definitely will get another scene together. The hotel idea is interesting, but the thing is, if she really goes through all that, she's gonna have to come back somehow. You know, she's alive later, unless, like you said, what we saw in the flash forward was actually the other side of the machine.
Yeah.
You know, it would have to be that crazy.
Yeah.
Did you hear Kevin? Like, they're talking about that on the other side of the machine.
I would think that what they reveal is that the machine does do something. It sent her to some other place, potentially just in time. Maybe she just goes to the future. But I would think that none of the departed people are there, and none of the people who went through the machine are there. But there are other people there living a sort of normal world that she integrates into.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it'll be like, and pigeons. Yeah.
And becomes a bird delivery message thrower away person.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna tie in somehow with whatever's going on there.
It's definitely the kind of show where, oh look, the departed place we showed you at the beginning, you know, like this was it the whole time, you know.
Yeah.
But it just can't be that all the departed people are there, you know, and like everyone who went through the machine is there, and it all works normal. Like, it's got to be some downside to it. But I feel like since this is a Kevin and Nora love story, then like the last scene has to be like Kevin showing up in this inexplicable place, you know, like somehow he shows up at the last moment on, you know.
Ugh. No, I don't
they
want
like
that.
look at each other from a distance. You don't want that?
No.
They run towards each other in slow motion.
Yeah, right. He picks her up and spins her around.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I never thought I'd see you again. And he's like, I always thought I'd see you again.
Oh, God. Oh, I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's the worst. So that's what I think is going to happen. Yeah, no, I just feel like in terms of it, you know, they keep saying this is Kevin and Nora love story. I just feel like that's the end of the story, is them, you know, that moment right when they reunite. We don't see any more. We don't see any talking. We don't see any, like, anything more than that one beat of, like, they're back together again. Somehow.
I don't think that they're going to get back together romantically. I think they're done with that. I think they're going to see each other again, but I think that part is over.
Well, what's life without love?
Well, they're both pretty miserable. Like, you know, that scene at their house right before they, you know, when they're like, God, when she like walks in on him suffocating himself.
Mhm.
Is she
Oh,
just
we
come
still
back
don't
from
have an
this thing?
answer for Bag Over the
And
Head.
like,
We gotta get that. They gotta tell us what he's trying to do.
And he's like, let's have a baby. You know, it's just like, you two people are broken.
Yeah,
This
but
is not working.
aren't they going to be fixed by whatever they're
No.
about to do in the next
No.
episode
They're
and a
getting
half?
fixed.
Because
They're
people
getting
are
fixed.
no, that's not gonna happen. It's not that kind of show.
They're fixing themselves.
It's not
They're
that kind of
getting
show.
fixed.
No.
They're
Fixed.
fixed.
No, because this isn't the first time that they thought that, you know, if they did that, it wouldn't be the first time. Like, they, you know, they were both, like, deeply disturbed, you know, romantically, personally, when they met. And that at the end of season 1 with the baby, and then when they were, like, this is not, no, because they didn't have this, like, totally perfect, you complete me kind of relationship before. It's just,
Yeah, that's why they should get it at the end.
yeah, but they're not.
Because they were completely dysfunctional the entire time they were together, and like, it seems like they're, you know, it seems like the point of the show is like, okay, whether she goes to the machine or not, or whatever, or Kevin dies and he gets the song, whatever these tasks are, they're never going to actually be happy unless they just accept their circumstances, right? So, like, I would agree that, like, just because she goes to the machine isn't going to make her happy, right? Like, whatever she can only accept her circumstances, and that's it. Like, if she doesn't, she'll be unhappy. If she does, she'll be happy. You know.
Right.
So I had a point.
So while you're thinking about what your point was, I actually don't think she's going to go through the machine.
Okay, what do you think's gonna happen?
I think she's gonna turn her back on the machine, the opportunity of the machine. Like, I think there's gonna be a confrontation with the physicists, but and maybe she'll even be on the verge, but she won't do it.
I could see her destroying the machine out of anger, because that's what she loves to do, is destroy people's hopes and dreams when she feels like she can't get her own.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. She is into that.
So maybe she'll go and try to convince them, and they'll still say no, and then somehow she'll break the microchip.
Sabotage it, yeah.
You know, or something like that. But the only reason I think we're gonna see someone go through the machine is because they keep talking about it. And I thought they were done, just like I thought they were done with the book. I thought they were done with the machine when she got disqualified. And the fact that they have props now, they rented props, they got vehicles, you know, set designer had to make something, and like, you know, I just feel like they are going to at least go to the next beat where she's on the precipice of going, but you know, I definitely agree with you that there's a big chance that she doesn't actually go through the machine, but that being said, I do think the best thing the show could do is reveal that that little flash forward thing we saw with her is the other world from the machine.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Without that, I'd be more adamant that she's not gonna go through it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, 2 more episodes.
Yep, it's almost over.
I'm gonna be sorry to say goodbye to the show. It's always bittersweet when a show ends when it's still good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
well, luckily we have Twin Peaks to hold us over. Save it for the Twin Peaks podcast.
Yeah. Indeed.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us. This was a
Thanks
good podcast.
for having me.
Yeah. And anything else, Justin?
No, that's it for me. It's been a good one.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next time.
All right, see you later.
Namaste.